Okay. Let me just get Twitch chat open and we should be good to go. Okay. Um, okay, so yeah, what we're doing today is we're going to be doing a VOD review of Weirdo Wizard's Duckling Weekly run. Thanks to Weirdo Wizard for letting me use this VOD to kind of take a look at. And he had a specific question, which is, his first run was sub 4 hours, I believe he said. And he's looking to see how he can get under that. Now, obviously, um, you know, being a new player, sub four is like first runs are very very difficult, and he says he has the routing down pretty well, so that's really good, and that's definitely something I'll be taking a look at. But we obviously got lots of room to make up some time here, so trying to figure out what that is, so that way there's something he can focus on for his next run is going to be the focus here. Um, this is going to be available for in the future on Twitch. So if you don't catch it live, you can check it out there. So first off, this is the Duckling Weekly flag set. So if you're not familiar with that, that means there's going to be 2 loose items, low scaling, uh, basic, no blurse weapons, no shuffled spells, nothing too, just shuffled spell levels, nothing else crazy. So pretty straightforward. Um, Right off the bat, though, I see a huge potential for time save just in party composition. So let's make sure that this is okay, that is the party that he's going to go for. So let's take a look at this. So this party will absolutely work, but we definitely do not need 3 melee characters here. The reason being is because one of the big differences from vanilla Final Fantasy randomizer in the randomizer, or from vanilla Final Fantasy, is that the shuffled magic makes mages more powerful. The reason being is because level 1 you can get nuke, level 1 you can get fade, you can get ice 3, fire 3, all that stuff early, and all those spells that you don't care about you can just ignore till much later. So because of that, you generally want mages. In order to go as fast as fast as possible, you generally want 2 black casters, so 2 black magic casters. That can be either a black mage or a red mage. Other considerations for speed, usually you want something that can run, although it's not always necessary. Fighter Rainbow is the general standard safe party, so that's fighter, red mage, white mage, black mage. Um, but going with something like this is going to be a pretty significant time loss just because you're going to have to get levels on all these characters in order for them to be able to do anything. Also, you don't really need a fighter and a black belt, and having more mages would speed things up significantly. The other problem, I know this is going to be a red mage, but you can be locked out of exit, warp, life, cure 4, heal 3. All of these spells can speed up things substantially. So melee class is going to be much weaker here than mages, except for the one melee class you need for a late game carry. And even that, if you have level 1 nuke, isn't necessary at this scaling. So already this party comp is going to be quite a bit slower because you're going to need levels, and the only person who's going to do stuff in the early game is going to be that red mage. I do like that you chose a red mage though. That's a good decision. Red mage, arguably the most powerful class in the game. Okay, right off the bat, because you have all melee, you're checking weapons and armor shops, but weapons and armor don't matter if you have spells. So the only spell that's good here is Invis 2. You don't need anything else. Bye. Okay, once again, the only spell that's good here is Lightning 2. But do note that you only need you should always put your damage spell first, unless maybe heal 3. The reason being is because that's the one that you're going to be menuing to the most. So having Invis 2 as your first spell means you're always going to be menuing right for no reason, as opposed to just casting Lit 2. So already that's something you can optimize. I generally suggest checking the white magic shop, then the red magic, or black magic, then going back to white magic, so you don't miss out on fade, but you always do that so you get your damaging spells first. If you're just going to buy an order, go black magic first. So there's no timer here. But I think you started around the 1 minute or so mark. So this isn't too bad for getting your early game shopping done, about 1 minute 30. I generally aim for a minute about 45 seconds to get out of Canaria, but that's okay. See, already though, okay, that was good turnover. But like having all three of these melee classes punch, as opposed to just casting one lit 2 and winning, you're going to be losing time on every single fight. Second, why are we grinding? Yes, we could use some levels, but ooh, especially with Imps Toxic. But we can kill Garland right now with just lit 2. The power of early magic makes a huge difference. But sure, we can get level 3 for some safety. So we're at about 2 minutes. Okay, we're going up to Garland now, though. That's good. Okay, so we're making some decisions. That's fine. But so we don't need to grind because 2 lit 2 should kill Garland in most cases. But that's okay. I mean, we could do this. I can't tell if you're power cycling or if you're soft resetting. But if you want to dodge these imps, we probably need to be doing some sort of encounter manipulation. Looks like you're power cycling each time. So you're going to hit the imps in the exact... Oh, no. Okay. That time you soft reset. Okay. We're okay then. Mad ponies are worth no EXP. Yep, there we go. So if you're just joining, a couple things. This party is going to be way slower because we only have a single black magic caster. We don't really need the black belt at all, to be honest. Although you could run the black belt instead of the fighter if you want to grind. But with 2 loose items, it's going to be generally faster just to get the incentive massa and go with a fighter. We could be locked out of warp, life, all that with the red mage. So something a little bit safer might be faster here. Yep, good decisions here. Marival with a question. All that reminds me, when using an emulator, how to hard reset? Does the emulator reset option hard reset? It depends on what emulator you're using. So I know how to do it for BizHawk, but I don't know how to do it for other ones. BizHawk lets you keybind soft and hard reset onto keys. So that's what I use, and they are separated. Okay, so key and Ruby and ship. Yeah, sometimes listed as power versus reset, exactly. So power is the hard reset. So once again, this party comp, fighter, black belt, thief, because of it, you need to buy weapons because otherwise you do nothing. But every single second that you do spending on weapons is time that you're spending not casting spells and not killing enemies. So like this party comp is just going to be so problematic for this whole seed. It's not that it can't be won with, but it's so slow. One other small note, when there's loose items and you're checking all the chests in Temple of Fiends, plus you only have lit 2 to kill Garland, I really suggest using a cabin outside. The reason is, or a saving item. The reason is because a lot of the time your lit 2s might low roll, so you need to reset. You might die getting the items, you have a lot more steps, all that stuff. So that can be very problematic. Thanks a lot, DVS, by the way, for helping out Marival with that. I know that there's been problems with that, all that jazz in the past, but I know quite a few people use that emulator. So I'm pretty sure it's possible. I honestly just suggest everyone switch to BizHawk. I don't know if people have different preferences, but BizHawk works for co-op, works really, really well for this game. I would just suggest that. Hey, he docked in the right spot. I like this routing decision. Going to provoke a second makes a lot of sense. And I also like fighting the pirates first, because once again, we have lit 2. We can kill these guys. Pretty good menu speed, too. Switch to BizHawk literally because of co-op. Kids have been down and all that. Yeah. It's all good. I guess if you're already set up, but any new player, I would definitely suggest starting with BizHawk if you haven't already have a preference. Okay, checking the armor shop's okay because we have no armor. Iron Shield maybe is worth a buy, but like don't buy that. You need money for magic. Don't buy that. Now we have no money for magic. The best offense is a good, or sorry, the best defense is a good offense. So being able to kill things quickly is going to save you way more time. than having some armor. Now, that doesn't mean that you should not buy any armor. I really, really, really like my chainmail. But when you only have 200 bucks, spending it on magic's generally going to be more worthwhile. That exit is a big time save in the seed. Okay, I like coming back for it though, so checking magic. Okay, so in this shop, this seed was specifically a little bit difficult. I chose it so that it wasn't like free nuke. I just cast nuke for the whole seed. Zap is an important spell in this seed. The reason being is because if you don't have, well, you get level 3 Fade later, but you need this Zap to take care of things that Lit 2 doesn't. It's low percentage, but at level 2 you're going to have enough casts of it that it's going to matter. So you really do want to pick up Zap here. So Zap and Exit are definitely the two spells we want to pick up here at level 2. My lighting is really bad. I mean, one sec. It's at least a little better. And once again, we do not need... Okay. We need to visit weapon shops in this seed because this party comp is slow, and because it requires weapons. But we don't want to check weapon shops in general if we have a party comp that can cast spells. So because of this party comp, we need to check weapon shops. But if we just picked another black caster, even one more, I would have fighter black belt, two black like fighter black belt red black, fighter thief red black, all of those would have totally worked. But because we only have a single one and our spells aren't amazing, it's a really big problem. Small improvement that saves a bunch of time that I was talking about in the last VOD review I did. Make sure that we're resetting out of the inns. It will save a lot of time because instead of having to walk all the ways down, you just reset and boom, you spawn outside. This, of course, is the biggest of a deal in Provoca, Gaia, and of course in Onrak. It's brutal in Onrak. Okay, I like this routing decision. So far, I've really liked Weirdo Wizard's routing decisions. Going grinding first, sure, but he went to Toph, then Provoca, then checking Matoya on the way out because there's loose items. This makes a lot of sense. But see here, like this fight. Also, what's your tech speed on? One sec. I'm watching at 1.75 speed, and that looked really slow. This has to be slower than 8. It has to be. Any guesses on what this tech speed is, chat? I didn't even notice because I was watching at 1.75 speed before, but maybe this is like 6 or 5? Yeah. Okay, well, I have no problems at all with a new player running at this speed, so I'm not even going to like... It's not a judgment or anything, but of course, if you want to speed up, increasing your tech speed is going to make a huge difference. So, you know, that's just something that... it's just something that will obviously help speed up your time. But once again, props to you. Like, no problem at all with this decision. I definitely support it. Hey, Weirdo, how's it going? I don't know when you joined or what you caught, but I was just saying I definitely support the decision to play at a lower tech speed here. Okay, so I will give a quick summary of things for Weirdo Wizard, as this is his seed, and you know. So one, this party comp is going to be super, super slow. The reason is because it only has a single black caster, and it also won't get fade casters later. So generally speaking, you want at least 2 mages in probably all parties. And the reason is because, unlike the vanilla game, mages are broken in this game. And that's because one of the primary things we randomize is where spell levels are, which means we can have earlier, we almost always are going to get more powerful spells earlier than we're supposed to. So mages are very, very powerful. So this party comp is going to be much slower than expected. Than like other party comps. So that's one huge thing. Second thing is because of that, you're checking weapon shops, and you don't actually need to check weapon shops as long as you get good magic. The reason, you're going to get an incentive massa, so your endgame weapon's taken care of, and for everything else, you can just cast spells for the most part. I was really, really excellent routing so far. Like, other than grinding on imps, which you don't really need to do, you kind of needed to because you only have one magic caster. Really good routing. So Toph, Provoca, Matoya, I like all these decisions. Those are all really, really good. And your step routing and stuff has been totally fine too. The one other thing I mentioned is just that your tech speed looks like it's not on 8, so you're probably losing... I don't know the impact on the whole seed, but that's obviously a huge time loss. So, but I support like keep that on as long as you need to be in order and before you get really used to being able to read the text as it goes as quickly as possible. I'm gonna speed this up again. Otherwise, we're gonna be here for a while. Yeah, toxic imp's gonna continue to be a problem, but it's okay. Now, I hope that you saved. Um, it was 6. Yeah. That's totally fine. Once again, good decision. Just if you're looking for ways to speed it up, obviously lower text speed is slower. So something that I was really getting on who's I don't think it was Mervil's who I did last time. I think it was Keldaka's, whose actual VOD it was. But something I really got on him about was how to save and when to save. So one thing that will help a lot is saving and hard resetting or soft resetting for encounter manipulation later. But for now, I just want people to get into the habit of when to save and where to save. So we want to save on the way out of towns. We want to save after we have finished basically any entrance. Because these wipes cost way more time than the like 5 to 10 seconds it takes to, not even 5 to 10 seconds, like the 3 to 4 seconds it takes to save and then do a hard reset. The other really big benefit of getting into the habit of saving is that it's going to start triggering you to encounter manip in the future. You almost always want to be encounter manipulating when you leave a town or a dungeon. And because of that, getting in that habit of saving is going to let you get into encounter manipulation more easily in the future. So save afterwards. Yeah, so if you do it, if you got it better at it later, that's awesome. But definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, so that's pretty much that for now. We'll see as you get through this. Obviously, going back to get your ribbon is a good idea. So, like, yes, we made the mistake, but doubling down on the, oh, I'm going to leave the ribbon to later is a worse decision than just doing this now. I guess while we're kind of watching this go on, I think I should emphasize a little bit more about why saving is so important. The reason, of course, is because we don't know, just like our spells are broken, the enemy spells are broken, and earlier game enemies generally are going to be stronger than they were in the vanilla game, whereas late game enemies are generally going to be weaker. The reason is because those spells getting shifted means that, you know, if everything has an average this equal chance to get nuked, that means the earlier enemies are way more likely to get something more dangerous than what they had in the vanilla game, whereas the late game enemies could get nothing. So because of that, oh yeah, nice save, good adjustment. Because of that though, we have to like kind of respect the early game map, especially when you know something is dangerous, like toxic imps. Okay, Weirdo Wizard. I noticed that returns to fiends was way easier than normal. So on average, the fiends. Yeah, I guess because the scripts are shuffled, they can feel easier. Also, 50 to 150 is really easy scaling for randomizer standards. So because of that, the fiends are going to feel a little bit easier because they can roll down. Um, they're going to still average out to 100, but that's not really what it feels like in practice. Ah, I see. Okay, yeah. Experience being boosted way up makes a huge difference too. Um, but yeah, on average, the fiends are going to feel easier. But trust me, I can make the fiends feel harder. You can create suffering if you don't respect the like clamped 200% fiends and things like that. At the same time, we usually will give you the levels and the tools, the weapon blurring and things, so that you can manage that. So yeah, so this early game is just kind of nasty in terms of the enemies that you're running into, but we've made it, which is really good. Now, unfortunately, nasty early game enemies kind of is a big detriment to early game players, like newer players, because you've you've lost a lot of time just off of not being able to encounter manipulate them and things like that. So that's that, but that's not a big deal. Once again, reset there. Kraken will always be scary. Yeah, Kraken. I mean, Kraken's just raw physical firepower will make it scary in most seeds. There's very few seeds where Kraken can't one punch an unarmored mage. Okay, so we're going to dwarves. So why are we going to dwarves, Weirdo? This one I'm curious about. I like the Matoya play, but dwarves for the 2 chests can make sense, but I generally suggest not to. Also, are we looking for hints? Are you also used to playing with hints? But anyways, there's no one in here that you need to talk to. I like the lots of cabins and saving, good stuff. So routing dwarves, what's the good? Yeah, so there's no hints in this flag set, so definitely check that seed, but not a big deal. Um, Yeah, so why to go to dwarves? Well, sometimes there's going to be a loose item in those chests, and you want to be finished it before you leave the inner sea. That's understandable. But the most obvious play here is to go to the ruby, and the ruby's almost always going to drive you back to Elfland at some point. And because of that, you might get the TNT or the adamant from the ruby, so you don't want to double dip dwarves. Um, yeah, so that's just something about when you think, oh, I should go to dwarves now or not. When I go to dwarves is when I have very limited incentive locations left, and I'm starting to open boxes for loot on the way out of the inner sea. When I don't is when I haven't checked, marsh, because we're going to marsh for sure. I haven't checked, and I haven't got the ruby items or crescent lake. So I have 4 incentive items, any of which could lead me to dwarves with the adamant of the TNT, and because of that, delaying it to later is probably a good idea. Checking for hints again. Okay, that's fine. Dwarf, Ruby, South Elfland Lake. Yeah, that's good routing. I mean, I have no problem with that. The one issue with that, I'm assuming South Elfland includes Marsh, because Marsh is incentivized in this seed. So you really, really want to be hitting up Marsh. As you said, though, you said in Duckling Pond that you had a pretty good idea of routing. And I was a little bit skeptical, but I actually believe you now. Your decisions and what you're saying all make a lot of sense. So you've clearly either watched a bunch of seeds, or you've played vanilla a lot, or you just have a good mind for it. But the routing makes a lot of sense. Biggest time loss so far has been menu speed, party, spell selection, because you don't have exit, and then just resetting and encounter manipulating. So I'm assuming we're going to go to the ruby now. So I want to pause on your magic screen here because I think you don't have exit. Oh, you do. Okay, good. Okay, so you have exit, which is really, really good. That's going to save you a lot of time. You don't have zap, which you can get by without it, but it's going to be slow. And like every single fight that you're taking, that you're swinging on, is taking way more time than casting Lit 2 and Zap. Zap would probably clear half these enemies half the time, which means if you had 2 black magic casters casting Zap, you would get through way faster. Something that might be interesting is just to see. I don't have a VOD of my duckling seed because I vet it. Like I ran it the week before it got posted, so that way, and I didn't want a video out there for people to see or like me to run it before it was even out. But something that might be interesting is me to kind of go through the same steps and kind of just show the various time saves that can happen on this duckling weekly to kind of compare times. So just to kind of show that your routing's been pretty good. Dwarf Cave aside, that's only a few seconds, but like how much time can be saved with just a few small optimizations, along the way, as well as the party comp. Because yeah, we're about 27 minutes in or so, and my guess for when I would leave the inner sea is probably 5 minutes. So even just in the early game, we're probably lost about 20 minutes or something. Exit out of here. This is going to be way, way, way faster to exit out. Save. Save. Okay. I don't mind the save there. That's fine. So this is where you want either 2 lit 2 casters or zaps. Once again, this fight's going to be painful. It's going to take a bunch of time. Oh yeah, you see. Okay, you had the same thing. I think it was Meriville who also mentioned before that he never thought about exiting out of things like towns or like friendly places. But yeah, you can exit out of anywhere or warp for that matter. Small optimization. In this area, what you want to do is you want to go with exit or warp. What you want to do is you want to go out the exit. You want to go down to Sarda, exit out of Sarda, go back in, and then you want to walk down the second time, exit to there, and then walk out. It saves like, I don't know, 5 steps or something like that, but it's a good improvement, and it's always faster. Yeah, sorry, Merville. It's not that I don't remember you being there. I just don't remember who said exactly what thing like resonated with them. So I think a lot of the time loss so far has just been on this party comp. Like the fact that you can't just get through fights with a single lit 2 or 2 is like way slower. But your encounter selection has been really good. Like I like when you're running versus when you're doing things. Your savings getting better. So overall, like I think there's lots of potential here, and I think you're gonna when you start making a few small adjustments, your time's gonna get way faster. Like you're gonna cut probably an hour from your next run. I would guess. So, a consideration here. Going to Elfland South now is a little bit of an issue. And the reason is because you want to turn in the adamant. So docking south versus docking north, you've kind of cut yourselves off from the dwarf cave, which is a little bit of a problem. I was worried about magic random, so I went high combat. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Like it makes sense, but you have to remember that on average the better spells are higher levels. So on average, in like 90% of seeds, you're gonna get much better magic than you will in the vanilla game. Only one high level spell has to roll down, and your magic is good. One. The chances of everything being high level is very low. So basically, vanilla is like the worst case scenario. Nuke being anywhere other than level 8 is better. Fade being anywhere other than level 7 or 8 is better. So you're probably going to get better magic. Even this seed, which I like kind of specifically selected to not have like bonkers good magic, still had level 3 fade, and level 3 fade is insane. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, the people who play more vanilla have amazing game knowledge, but also get handicapped by like what vanilla kind of teaches you, which is that like melee is everything. You need to grind like a lot. You have to grind very slowly. Mages are kind of support characters more so, and then you burn your critical precious spell charges once in a while. Versus Rando is like mages are broken. I spam spells everywhere because I get levels fast and I'm gonna save all the time. Um, and melee characters are needed for the end of the game, in which I cast spells that were broken in vanilla, like Lock and Temper. So, it's definitely a different experience. But the vanilla knowledge does transfer over. Like all the enemy weaknesses stuff absolutely continues to work. Um, routing, understanding like what enemies are in what zones, all that stuff still applies. Uh, yeah. After getting used to the randomizer, watching Mouse play vanilla felt so weird. I hope Mouse is playing at least like vanilla-ish, or even like without RNG table changes, just like with speed hacks on, because yeah. Oh God. Okay. Well, that's a buggy mess. But I mean, to be fair, I played NES, not NES Classic, on an actual physical NES machine. I played Final Fantasy 1, so don't get me wrong. But that is slow. Kind of fun though. By level 4 spells, you have seen 16 of 32 spells. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes, exactly. Shadows. That is like or shadows. Shadows. That is 100% the logic that needs to be thinking about. So you need to lose 4 coin flips in a row. Never mind the fact that there's also Fate as a backup. Never mind the fact that um, Zap, Brack, Bane, those can all be used in a pinch too. Yeah, exactly. Like the new spells being fixed, optimization, things like that you never used. 100%. And that's like makes a lot of sense. But if you want to be faster, we have to take advantage of those opportunities. And to be honest, I think they're really solid quality of life improvements. Okay, I've covered this before, but I will do it again here for Weirdo because I think it's really important. I think you can see my mouse. These tiles don't increase the encounter table. Let me know if you don't understand what I mean by that. But these tiles do not count as steps because they're at the bottom of a room. Also, the step in front of and behind a door and the door itself don't count. So if you walk this way, you only hit 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, or three or four steps. Versus if you walk this way, you're taking all these plus all these steps. And more encounters is bad. If you need levels, you can get them in other places, not here. Oh, there we go. That was the right routing. It was my playing of the randomizer that got Mouse interested in FF1 to begin with. Yeah, that's awesome. The ones by the door, I heard that it started using it more later. That's something new I just learned before this run. Oh, okay, perfect. Well, see, you're a fast learner. You're gonna, as I said, I would not be surprised if your next run is much, much, much quicker. Nice use of exit there. Really, really good. I hope you saved outside though. I didn't catch if you did or not. So, also, you did route to Marsh. Once again, your routing has been really, really good, except for potentially. um, you routed yourself out of turning in the dwarf, which is kind of dangerous. The reason it's dangerous is because right now you're really looking for the canoe and then the floater. And if either of those is there, you're looking for the canoe or the floater, and if out of those are there, that's really, really bad. You're going to be on like a big loose hunt for no reason. So we're at about, let's see, 36 minutes or 37 minutes. Okay, this chest is linked. I don't know if you know what that means, but basically this chest can be opened somewhere else in the room faster. So linked chests, I like to call them Schrodinger's chests. Basically, the items inside of it exist in two places at the same time. So, and whatever one you open, that's where it appears. So you don't know whether the item is in chest A or chest B, but once you open chest A, the other chest is going to be completely empty. So what that more or less means is just that you're going to want to skip the one that is slower to open. In that case, that's this one. Can I open Discord on here? Open Discord. Okay, well, anyways, there's a really, really good map resource for this. I don't have the stream tech to do it properly, but I will post it in chat. Actually, you know what? There's other people in chat who can help me here. Some vet in chat or anyone who's got Discord open, can you post the link to the marsh routing map? Okay, this chest you do need to open, but this is not the fastest route to do it. So the reason I'm highlighting this is because this is the first time I've actually seen you make routing mistakes. So that's really good, but also, you know, somewhere you can definitely improve. Yeah, it's in the old one that used to be called resources and links, but now it's called like stream setup and something like that. It's now in setup and tech questions. Don't ask me why. I think the end result is it's all going to be in Groggy Dogs or Dark Moon's Discord channel. Okay, Crown, that's good. So trying to remember what chest you haven't opened yet. That's the linked chest, by the way, right there. That's the one that's linked to the top left, but that's not that important. Good stuff. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so check that out for marsh routing. Does it just open in my? Will it just open? I think it will open in my. Oh, it does open in my browser. Boom. Content, people. Yeah. So this is the way that we want to route marsh. And you can see that it says X, and that's because these two chests are linked to other chests on this floor. So, and the other reason you want to walk this exact way is because it uses the free steps in front of the doors. Here, 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 here. And then you walk back along the doors here so you get free steps there and there. Of course, in this case, you have exit, so you don't need to. Thanks a lot, DVS, though. Continuing. Uh-oh. So bad marsh routing is going to cost us a wipe here, because if we had routed properly, we've taken enough seeds, or we've taken enough steps to full clear marsh, and we've lost our exit caster, which is really, really bad. So you're now stuck in a very, very bad place. Yeah, hey Adriel, how's it going? Yes, if you open one, the second one is empty. Exactly. Small optimization. If you walk left there, it's actually slightly faster than walking right because of the free step in front of the door, and more free steps along the bottom there and along in the previous room. But I think once you know why the steps are better, you'll be able to route. Ooh, you get out. Very nice. Reset out of this. Yes, and a ribbon should have been on your exit caster. 100%. What does the 181 out of 190 thing mean? I don't know what you're asking about, Maraville, but if you can clarify, I'll be more than happy to answer. Yes, Weirdo Wizard ribbon should be on, with the exception of your later like fiends, like maybe just chaos. You want your routing, or sorry, your ribbon on your life caster first. And then if you don't have a life caster, on whoever's going to get you through fights, which is going to be usually your white mate, your newt caster or your fade caster. So your big sweepers. So generally on your red mage or your black mage or your white mage. So life first, if not sweepers, if not then just put it on your knight. Let's go back. Okay, yeah. So what do you, I want to slow this down just a little bit here. What are we buying from this Elfland shop? Oh wow. Yep. A drill coming in with the answer, just barely sniping DVS7 on it. Okay, so let's talk black magic here. So there's two spells here that I'm assuming you think are broken or previously thought were broken that are not, that are actually really, really good in the randomizer. Um, any guesses in chat what those two spells are? Oh, you see, I really like this. You're making the adjustment that you knew that you need to make in the seed. So this is really good. This is like in seed learning, which I'm like big fan of. Sorry, I have you on mute, but I found that because I watch it fast speed, the chipmunking does not sound very good. Okay, so, not only two spells, three spells that are broken in vanilla are at this level. So this challenge is not so hard. Um, so Temper, Brack, and Lock 2, all broken in vanilla, or aren't as effective. All really, really good in the randomizer. So Temper works, and therefore is your largest damage buff after you've cast fast. Lock 2 is not necessary on this scaling, but in higher scalings, it's one of the most important spells in the game. Even more so against the later fiends than Faster Temper, because missing them is way, way, way worse when you can crit than doing more damage. So Lock 2, something you'll definitely need to pick up for later higher scaling weeks. Brack is your one-way ticket to killing Kraken 1 and Tia 1, especially if you go in at low levels, which you're likely to do. I crafted these flags to remove the possibility of needing to dive C like super, super early because you need the floater and Sky 2, but in later weeks, that's not going to be the case. And having Brack as a like back pocket, like I can kill Kraken and get out of a dungeon at level 10, is huge. So Brack is something I would definitely be considering picking up here. Let's see what you buy. Okay, we buy Temper. So Temper is the most important spell there. The other two have niche uses, Lock 2 at high scaling, Brack against specific bosses, but Temper is the all-encompassing spell. Okay, we're going to speed up again. Actually, let's quickly talk magic here. So, yeah, exactly. Weirdo Wizard, are you familiar with like what mages can learn what slots and all that? I think with your vanilla knowledge, you probably know it, but I just want to confirm. Yeah, killing Tia at level 2 entrance floor shuffle things, yeah, that definitely happens. Hey, might as well farm Tia 2 for some early game experience. Okay, yeah, perfect. So, my favorite spreadsheet, you can see, oh, you can't see my, okay, well, I have it cut off, probably good for privacy, but I have it bookmarked. My favorite spell spreadsheet. This is the gospel. I've had this open for 8 months, and I have no shame. But yeah, so this life, the red mage is never going to be able to learn it, which is pretty bad, but that's what happens sometimes. But obviously, Fade is an immediate pick here. And once again, the spell by order here is problematic because you really want Fade in slot 1, but you already bought Brack. Or sorry, you already bought Temper. So because of that, Temper is going to be in the wrong spot. Oh, you came back and bought Brack. That's good. Um, wait, you bought Fade, right? I think you must have bought Fade. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. But you want to optimize it so that your spell locations, your most cast spell in battle, especially in battle, is always in slot 1. So because of that, I'm always going to route white magic, check for Fade, then go to black magic, buy whatever you need if there's no Fade, and then go back and buy your white magic last if you have a red mage. So just like small optimizations like that, but it's going to greatly increase your menuing speed. So something that you should consider. If you don't have a red mage, you don't need to do that back and forth. You just go to black magic, buy for your black mage, go to white magic, buy for your white mage. and reset out here. Um, hmm. I'm very, very, very tempted to run this seed and just like do this initial routing just to kind of show what's faster, but maybe I can run a seed later, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But like right now we're at 45 minutes or so, and I think we could be done all this in probably 10 to 15. So we've lost about half an hour in just the early game. In exchange, you've gotten a few more levels, but most of it's just been time spent, like thinking, um, menuing, not having multiple black magic casters, and just that kind of costly wipes and lack of encounter manipulation. So overall, pretty good, I'd say, for like this being an early stage randomizer seed. I think you're doing really, really well. But like lots of time to save, lots of time to save, which is good. Okay, and you know what Fade does. Great. Better than Pro Jared already. 10 out of 10 speed run. Should stream professionally. Once again, lack of black magic casters, or in this case, lack of multiple Fade casters is costing you. Not the end of the world, though. I like this routing decision once again. Obviously, it's better to route to here from Marsh if you didn't wipe in Marsh, like all your party members didn't die. But this is fine. I'm glad you went here before you left the continent, so good decision there. And boom. No extended open progression. I don't know if you weren't aware of that flag or that you just forgot you didn't have the canoe, but this is why I was talking about docking inner sea. Might have been slightly preferable because you did. I once again, I like the instincts. You're like, I need to go to dwarves. I want to turn in this adamant. Um, but unfortunately, no extended open progression. What I always do before I start a seed, and I've played lots of seeds, is write down notes of like critical things that affect my routing decisions. Onto a notepad that I have open in front of me so I can quickly glance at it always during the seed instead of having to scroll through the very complicated flag set. And one of the things I always note is like northern docks, Ryukyu Desert docks, extended open progression. Those things are like really, really important to know if they're turned on or not. Because like you can lose a race because you forget northern docks is on. 100%. You can lose a race because you forget you don't need the canoe to turn in the floater. So definitely important flags to check in advance. Um, Your ship routing's been really good too, by the way. Yeah, just everyone's got different things to improve on. Because I think when I was looking at Kaldaka's seed, uh, he had watched more Randomizer, so I think he had really good knowledge of like party comp, like a little bit more about party comps and like spells. But he was like in very much he made very different mistakes versus a lot of your time losses are in other areas. So it's interesting to see, you know. Crescent Lake, good decision. We are looking for, okay, small optimization. If you dock here and walk around, these are free steps. This gives you more chances to get a sea encounter. So you want to stop right there and then walk. But Crescent Lake's a good decision. We don't know if we need to find a loose item yet or not. So Crescent Lake, a good decision, as this is your last incentive location that's available. Yeah, exactly. Like I can tell that you know the vanilla game pretty well, and it makes a big difference. But at the same time, you got to break all those vanilla habits, and those are hard to break. Good, good decision. I like buying 5 houses there. That's really, really good. Okay, so everyone out there, definitely be taking notes right now that pro rings are here because pro rings, as you open less boxes, getting pro rings is going to be one of those things that's going to make a big difference in terms of your survivability. Pro rings, if you're not familiar, do two things. One, they have 8 absorb, so they're best in slot absorb, and two, they give you resistance to death, which is really good. So once again, checking our handy spell permissions. Oh no, our red mage can't learn life. That's terrible. But on the bright side, nuke is red wizard learnable. So we can come pick up nuke later. With this party, nuke's probably fairly important. I don't know if I would always go back to pick up nuke after I promote, depending on how free it is. But yeah, life you almost always will want to come back to pick up. But nuke just being another damage spell, sometimes you don't need it. Okay, so the chime without yeah, exactly. Not going back for it with Fade is level 3. Definitely a good decision. I agree with that. I don't think I went back for it, to be honest. I'm almost positive I didn't. Once again, you can exit out of here. It's a lot faster. I know you're kind of thinking, but like in terms of just like raw getting from the sages out of Crescent Lake, you want to generally exit out, even if you're going to go back and buy. But you should probably buy the first time around rather than the second. Oh no, you're not going to be able to save. I guess you have cabins and houses. Okay. Good stuff. Good like general game knowledge thinking. Yeah, I don't mind that shopping choice. That was pretty good. So Crescent Lake trip, only thing of note is potentially exiting out instead of walking back and forth, and just buying the pro rings on the way up. So like do all your shopping on the way up, go to the sages, cast exit. It will speed things up quite a bit. Yep, this is once again the right routing, so really nice. At this stage, so we're guaranteed a loose item because oh no, adamant turn-in. You haven't done the adamant turn-in. But not the end of the world to have to turn it in this way, as if it's not here, you're going to be going into Earth Cave anyways. So, not really a big problem. Yeah, the pro ring was a hard choice. I agree. With a single ribbon already, the pro ring's not near the first pro ring's not nearly as important. Although you don't have a life caster, so anyone who dies is dead in dungeons, which is a big problem. Yeah, I think buying it's okay. You're not really like the only thing that's left that you need to spend money on is a shop item and the Melon spells, level 5 spells. But even those are like questionable with the red mage. So spending all your money here is okay as long as you don't get super punished for a shop item. So I was saying your encounter selection is pretty good, but it's getting a little bit worse as the seed's going on. One, you're not encounter manipulating, obviously, and that's totally fine. But two, these ogres and gur ogres are worth 0 exp at this point. Like, you're level 11, you don't want to be taking really any fights in the inner sea past level 6. At that point, the experience trade-off is just so bad that you just don't want to be taking any of them. This is okay. This is not taking the fight. This is trying to run and casting Fade as a backup. That's good. But like the punch against ogres and gur ogres, not so good. If you want to be getting um, if you want experience, you want to be grinding around Crescent Lake right now. Yeah, exactly, and that makes a lot of sense. If you're used to vanilla, you're probably not used to being level 12 after doing nothing but Marsh Cave, but welcome to the Randomizer and the glories. I've also designed this flag set to be a little bit more Duckling friendly, so you're going to get levels quite a bit faster than you would in like the most competitive, like, Spell Zap versus Crab Cakes final flag set. Um, yeah, getting full ribbons is a priority, but like you can definitely win without full ribbons. You want two, is what you really want with this party in No Life. You want one for your red mage, and you want one for your knight or black belt, whoever is going to be your primary damage dealer. And if it's the black belt, if your black belt gets to level 40 or 42 without promotion, he's wearing a pseudo ribbon. If against all spells except Brack, and even Brack is like 6 and 256 to hit. So black belt's one way to get around not having a ribbon. Otherwise, you just really need one on your knight and your red mage. Your thief is mostly there to do nothing but run, so thief can die really at any time. Yeah, so level 28, you're looking for 2 ribbons, ideally, and you might be able to get by with 1, but probably 2 would be ideal. Okay, so we're doing a big think here. That's okay. But what are we thinking about? Okay, yeah, this is reasonable. So let's reiterate for chat. We just got the canoe. We've cleared Crescent Lake. Um, we've cleared Crescent Lake, Marsh Cave. We've done all our turn-ins that we can do. We haven't found the shop item yet, I don't believe. So what are our choices? I strongly disagree with that, Weirdo. So for the first time, I disagree with your routing decisions. So with the incentive locations being where they are, you actually have a choice between, in my opinion, Ordeals and Ice Cave, because we want to clear out the incentive locations first. The reason is if our second loose item is there, we no longer have to open any more boxes, ideally. We have an incentive Masa, so we don't need a sword. We have a single ribbon already. Maybe one more would be nice, but it's not necessary. So I think you want to get as many incentive items as you can. Yeah. So between ice and ordeals. Now let's talk about this ice or ordeals play. There's actually been a lot of discussion about this recently because of this particular flag set, which is partially kind of how it was designed. When choosing between ordeals or ice cave, generally speaking, if you have warp, you almost always just straight go to ordeals. The reason is ordeals is almost as fast by ship as it is by floater, because the floater you have to walk, ship you can dock. And warp makes ordeals fast. The downside of ordeals without warp is that ordeals can be really slow for the pillar maze. Ice Cave, on the other hand, if you have exit but not warp, which is the situation, Ice Cave has a serious argument, as Ice Cave with exit is not quite as fast as Ice Cave with warp, but it's better than without neither. The downside is that the river system via canoe is way, way, way slower than the river system with the floater. Of course, then there's just land outside of ice. So I would lean here towards ordeals probably because I really prefer to sail to ordeals, but I think ice is a reasonable play as well. I don't think Earth Cave is even in discussion because we don't have the rod and we don't want to double dip Earth. Volcano's an okay play as well. If you want to like get some levels, open some boxes, potentially kill carry. I could see going Volcano. So yeah, you could do Ice Volcano or you can do Ordeals. I think Earth is completely out of the question here. There might be a loose item there that'd be really unlucky, but everyone else is going to last location that anyways. There's no reason to do that. Yeah, I understand that like Ice Cave is kind of terrifying from the vanilla game, but once again, this is the randomizer. Sorcerers don't have death touch. We just fade everything and get out. Don't get me wrong, at your current party levels, you definitely could die in Ice Cave, but it's where you need to be focusing on the incentive locations. Because if okay, so it looks like you saved after turning in the canoe. That's fine though. Once again here, you can exit out of here to save a few steps. So that's a good way to speed up as well. Okay, go save. Cool. Reset out of here. But that's fine. Yeah. That's tool to cool. I know some of these things you've already kind of learned from. I'm just kind of pointing them out not only for yourself as well. Because once again, I'm sorry, I don't have your audio on, but I'm assuming you're vocalizing some of these learnings as well. But yeah. Yeah, our levels are okay. You could definitely do Ice Cave right now, but I understand going to Volcano. This is totally fine. The issue with going to Volcano here is you have to make a decision. You either have to clear just the Volcano Armory, which is the floor with all the chests, and then leave and then go to Ice Cave. That's fine. Or you go all the way down to Carry, and it's preferred to full clear a location once you've entered it. The reason is because you don't want to double dip it for speed. How would I feel about killing Carry right now? Well, first off, let's discuss health. So this is 50 to 150. Carry 1 has vanilla 600 HP, so that means Carry has between 300 and 900 HP. What is our reasonable damage output? Well, our reasonable damage output here is Fade, plus chip damage with melee, but not very much. So how many Fades is it going to take us to kill Carry? Well, Fade's going to do, on average, about 150 to 200 damage to Carry here. So in the worst case scenario, we need 5 Fade casts. And then you kind of have to say, will our white or red mage stay alive for long enough? It's kind of close. Now, let's do all that math again, but if we have 2 casters, or 3 casters. Well, if I have 2 Fade casters, Carry's dying in 2 to 3 turns. This is an easy Carry fight. My melee classes, once again, aren't doing anything. My melee classes are way, way, way weaker than my mages at this stage in the game. So this party comp, once again, is just making it so much more difficult to get through this volcano in one shot. as opposed to if you had, a fighter rainbow here, for example, which is what most of the other ducks have had. Um, Now, there's a second decision here, which is how many boxes do you open? Well, we have one loose item still out there, so we kind of need to open all the boxes. But the problem with this is that a loose item could just be in one of the incentive locations that we need to go to anyways. That's a lot faster to check all the boxes in. For example, ordeals, right? All those chests are just in a line. And if the loose item is somewhere there, it's going to be much faster and like way more routing efficient, as you can just breeze past all of these volcano chests in later. So, opening the boxes here is the correct decision, but going to volcano has like a carry-on effect of losing a bunch of time, which is kind of expensive. Taking the Frostwolf Ice here is fine, by the way. I felt the push was a risk it for the biscuit to clear it all and hopefully gain some speed, and I was, and I'm still not sure how much gear I needed to go all chests I could. Yeah, for sure. Gear is like, you can ask the other ducks here in chat just how hard it is to like judge what gear you need. But spoilers for the rest of the Duckling weeklies. In a lot of cases, we're going to give you at least half of the gear that you kind of need for the end of the game. So remember, the checklist for the most part is a ribbon, an endgame sword, kind of it. But of course, you need all the items you need to win, so like loose items and stuff. But like a ribbon, an endgame sword. You can buy, worst case scenario, you can buy 4 gold bracelets and 4 pro rings for your whole party. That's enough absorb for 50 to 150 bosses. So you really don't need any armor. If you have fast and temper, you really don't need much else. The only other consideration might be if you feel like you need additional evasion stacking, in which case the white shirt or the defense sword could be a nice to have. But to be honest, you could get if the first 2 items were the loose boxes in this seed, you could probably not open another chest for the rest of the run and be like 70-80% safe to go through Temple of Fiends Revisited. Maybe not with this party, but with like a fighter rainbow, I would say so. At level 24-ish. The reason 24 is important is because it gives you the extra hit on the Massa. The fighter swinging a Massa, vanilla Massa, gets the 5th swing at level 24. So 24 is a really, really, really important breakpoint for the fighter, as 4 hits to 5 hits is a huge damage increase. Yeah. So we're clearing the volcano armory. Nothing much to comment here. But how much gear you need is always a difficult question. On this run, didn't get fast. I didn't Lefane and didn't get Massa on the chain, so I went heavy bucks. Oh, okay. So if you don't get Massa on the chain, that's a pretty different story. But like in most cases, getting Massa, no matter how terrible the incentive chain, is going to be faster than opening all the boxes. A drill with a second question. So what is the advantage of this comp? Scaling plus free running? Well, this comp has, okay, yeah, running. Running is good. That's the thief. The fighter black belt is kind of the most difficult part of like the advantage of this. So we have seen fighter black belt comps in the past, but why they're selected is the top. This is like very, very top level strategy, but why they're selected is in seeds where it's uncertain if the black belt or the fighter is going to be better, they take both. If they find a good grind tile, they kill the fighter and run solo black belt to 42, and then they just have 2 mages with a black belt as their endgame comp. If they don't find a good grind, they run solo fighter with a weapon, they kill their black belt off, and then they run solo fighter or fighter with 2 mages as their 3-man comp. So the reason this comp is used in higher level play is so that you have the flexibility to choose between the fighter and the black belt as your late game carry, depending on if you find grinds and or weapons. Running them both together, there's not really a big advantage. Yeah, Sir Link a lot. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm referring to. Is the SG live flags. Like Cheeseinator, who ended up winning the tournament. Me and him had like a hour-long discussion in DMs about comps, and this was something that we discussed quite a bit about Black Belt Fighter and like the benefits of it. Now, when I say like not primary damage dealer, that doesn't mean you like keep the person dead. you bring them up, but they're just not like a core part of your strategy. They're there to like take a punch from Kraken or cast White Shirt or whatever. And that of course is valuable. So it's not like a literal 3-man comp, but like your core comp is only 3 people. I was expecting better damage for high melee and not understanding the power of random. Yeah, 100%. So like, I guess the TLDR is that like this is not an optimized comp for this flag set or for rando in general, but there is benefits of running things like double melee. But if you're running double melee, you can't really afford to run a thief as well. So the thought patterns that Weirdo Wizard has makes a ton of sense. Like there's no, it's not like, oh, Weirdo Wizard is stupid. Like, why would you ever pick this comp? What a stupid idea. It's much more just like Randomizer. It's much more that Randomizer changes a lot of things, and you have to adjust for that. So, yeah. Hey Bert, how's it going? Panic basket. Yeah, my headphones don't recognize that I'm like talking. It only recognizes when sound's being played, and auto turns off after 30 seconds. So maybe I need like Spotify playing at like one volume in the background. You had some minor step miscues in Volcano here, but it's pretty small. Ooh, that was good. That was right. Also note, if you go to the second floor here, or if you go to the Agama floor, you're killing carry, unless there's an incentive item in the chest. Like, routing in Volcano with no incentive items is you either clear the top floor and leave, or you go all the way to the bottom. You don't go to Agama floor unless you're planning on killing carry. Those waters are terrifying, by the way. Nice routing there. Small misstep there. You want to walk straight down from these doors into the lava almost always, because this step is not free, this step is not free, but these steps all are free. So you almost always want to walk like straight up to the doors. I like your weapon distribution. To be honest, you're kind of doing the black belt dead thing here. The only problem is you have a thief instead of a second mage. I vanilla don't run black belt, but not needing to worry about armor was a move for the mental math of being new. Nah, yeah, that's fair, that's fair. Yeah, for sure, Sir Lancelot. I mean, me and Gregley are doing the comms for the vanilla, so this is kind of a warm up for that. Yeah, week 3 of the Duckling boot camp is going to be very, very, very friendly to. Ooh, that's a terrifying tile. Very, very friendly to black belts. So you'll get lots of opportunity to practice a black belt strategies there and learn all about when to promote, when not to promote, various things like that. Oh, also, hello eye tile that no one ever found because no one opened this box. No. Oh, you're not happy about that chest, or you're not happy about the eyes. I don't know what you're not happy about, but you're not happy about something. I'd be really happy about getting through those phantoms, because those phantoms are terrifying. Wait, what was so scary? The phantoms or the eyes? Because the eyes are just EXP pinatas. The phantoms are not. The phantoms are the worst, like the worst tile in vanilla trap tiles. Okay, we are taking carry on. This you probably win, but this is by no stretch guaranteed. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Once again, eyes, anything that is scary because of vanilla status touch, sorcerers, or spells, eyes, are EXP pinatas in the randomizer. The eye is the best grind, unless it rolls something terrifying. Like, that eye is where, if some vet runner saw it, they'd be like, ooh, I'm going to dan my whole party and run my black belt to 42. See week 3 flag set for examples of this. But in this flag set, you're doing okay. This I'd say is like a 50-50 carry fight. I don't know. I think DVS and Sir Lancelot might be in chat. What's your odds on this fight? Bert's here too. Let's get our odds in chat. We got Fade. We got 3 casts of Fade. We got level 13 fighter swinging a Sun Sword. 50 to 150 scaling. We're probably pretty good. This is probably like a 70% carry fight. It's definitely not free, but armor's okay. If your red wizard gets punched, yeah. If your red wizard gets punched, then you're probably not winning. But if carry rolls low, you can definitely win this. Has the trauma of discussing grind tiles gone down at all? Yeah, just cast 3 fades. If your fade caster dies, though, you're in a bit of trouble. Yeah, grind tiles are are traumatizing. We've had so many people wipe on grinds of late, especially on rebroadcast. It's like terrifying. Okay, good plan. Let's see. Oh, whoa, that's a lot more damage than I thought. Carry has no absorb. Okay, this fight's free. I might be slightly used to carry having a little bit scarier, but like I have died many frickin' times to carry one. Don't disrespect carry one. Maybe disrespect carry one at the scaling, but like carry one can punch really hard. While we're navigating the river system, a couple notes for carry one that Ducks might not think about. Um, she has a status weakness, so like your wizard staff, stun, confusion. These are actually pretty effective against her, and getting a free turn or two out of her can be huge. So like having your thief cast wizard staff if you have it is a really good plan against carry. Also, if you have a black mage who doesn't have a good damaging spell, going for those types of things also a good plan. But for the most part, the way that you want to kill carry one is the way that you want to kill most of the fiends, the fiend first fiends, which is just like speed and power, fade, fade, nuke, swing, etc., etc. Kill her before she can kill you. Uh, we've used the term speed and power a few times, or maybe not on this stream, but you'll probably hear it in general. It is the mantra of Lord Fizzlebeef, who's a really nice member of this community. He basically is a big fan of the if I go pure offense, I have a good chance of killing it before it kills me. Also, going slow is dangerous sometimes because going slow and safe is way more risky sometimes because it gives them more turns to cast nuke, which is actually the problem. There's no really way you can like get defensive against nuke. So go fast. Yeah, the best status effect to apply is dead. Exactly. So I went back to revive. Could I just have housed an ice cave? I wasn't sure. Um, with your party, I probably agree. Once again, see, there's all these trickle down effects. Bert Reynolds pointed out that like FFR is just a bunch of coin flips in a row, and you're just trying to like best optimize what coin flips you're making, and that's 100% what's happening here. A combination of your party, the decision to go to Volcano, has left you with two not good choices. Um, because did I pause? No, it's just you're paused on your side. Because your party doesn't have two mages, you kind of need the black belt, but you kind of want the black belt to stay dead. So like going back to revive is not ideal. Your decision previously to buy houses was really good because you did have the option to go straight to Ice Cave and house up. That's really good. That's why I like the buying houses like 30 minutes ago because it benefits you here. But because you went to Volcano, you got to put in this awkward situation versus the place that you always wanted to go to here was Ice Cave. So because of that, you had to route Volcano all the ways back around and then all the ways back, which is kind of problematic. Also, of course, if you had a white mage, you just have life, and then you just get to go right away. Sorry, I know I'm ragging on the party comp a lot, but it just makes everything like so much more difficult for you. And it's important to recognize where you made a good decision at the time that other runners didn't have to make a decision at all because they had the tools required. And like separating a good decision for what you made based off this versus what a good decision in other situations is like part of the nuance of learning the randomizer. These fights are worth nothing if you can avoid them. They're worth a little bit of gold, but like it's kind of garbage. Okay, your routing obviously getting your river system routing is a little bit different. Also, I know this is new, this whole being able to walk through, so like that's something that you have to adjust for in the randomizer compared to the vanilla game. Yeah, the flags for tonight are really good to talk about recognizing flags and choosing a party comp for that. So Gregley and I will definitely make sure to spend a little bit of time on that. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I had a ping in Discord, but it's just life reboot wanting to race. Okay, so here we go, going to Ice Cave. Not much to note. I'm assuming you know about the... Yeah. Bird fades... Okay, so I really like that thought. Like, burn fades for EXP, use a house when you get there. That's really good. The problem is that what you're choosing to burn fades on for EXP is slow. You'd be much better off fading Peds in Crescent Lake and then encounter manipulating through the river system than fighting through the river system. You get less fights, more dangerous fights, and end up at the same place. Yeah, grind those Peds here too. Peds are good until about level 14, 16, maybe a little bit lower, but like you can definitely use Peds to get a few levels here. Your levels are good though, like you don't need too much more. Okay, Ice Cave. I'm assuming, Weirdo Wizard, that you know about the warp trick here. Um, or not the warp trick, sorry, the exit trick. I mean, it's not really a trick, it's just don't go through Ice Cave twice. But, you know, that's going to be a major time save here if you do that. Because we haven't found both loose, you should be full clearing Ice Cave. Yeah, okay. You know the warp trick, you can't do it, but and yeah, you exit. Okay, yeah, so cool. So warp is going to be faster, but exit is a good second bet. Mages are worth it. Okay, back up. Mages are good EXP here. I guess you're in here for a while, but you generally want to fade mages. Same thing with sorcerers. They're worth a bunch of EXP, and they're not scary. Things with scary vanilla status or spells, EXP pinatas. And I hope you hear that in your head whenever you see sorcerers from now on. Yeah, if it's scary and vanilla, it's good to kill in rando. Oh, wait, what? Did you just fall down the hole? Let's slow this down a little bit here. Because if you just fell down this hole, this is not good, because you should be opening those 3 boxes. Yeah, worried about eyes, sources, mages. And instead, you're like, hell yes, eyes, sources, sorks, mages. I want to punch those and kill them, so they give me a bunch of juicy XP. Well, they do nothing but punch me for 2 damage. Okay, I want to slow things down right here. Okay, so with warp, the routing is always along the bottom here for free steps, up, around, and then down this center hole, and then warping back here, so that way you can open all 3 of these boxes, unless you want to check grinds. If you want to check grinds, it's a little different. Without warp, and not being in go mode, so you need to open boxes, you want to check this chest, then you want to walk back, check this chest, and then fall down the hole. Because otherwise you're not going to be able to check these 2 boxes. And that's a big risk if there's a loose item out there. Okay, yeah, once again, vanilla habits, but yeah, this is a point where you could have lost your run if you forgot about them or had to come back like way later. If there was a loose floater in there, you just lost. Because you never want to come back to Ice Cave here. With loose items, the general thought pattern is I want to go where I have to go first, and then I don't want to go back to somewhere if I can avoid it. If you're racing and at a really high level, like, for example, I know Shadow Walker is a really good runner. He will skip like chests even if there's loose items. Like he'll skip the red dragon chest and just say, if it's there, I lose the race. I mean, you can make decisions like that, but for new players, that's not what I would recommend. Open the boxes, full clear locations if you can, and prioritize places that you want to full clear first, rather than going somewhere where you have to full clear, but it's a little bit unfortunate. So that's why like this Ice Cave play is okay, because opening all the boxes in here isn't that time consuming and doesn't take that much more time, as opposed to something like going to Earth Cave right now, where you couldn't beat it because you don't have the rod. The chests suck, and they're all over the place. And there's no guaranteed incentive items. So like Earth Cave doesn't meet any of those requirements. Ordeals, Ice Cave meets all of them. You can full clear it. It has an incentive location. Those are where you want to go. Volcano was also a good choice. It just doesn't have that critical third one, which is it doesn't have an incentive location. So there may or may not be something there. Yeah. Like Bert, I don't know if Bert's still here, but like he is our vanilla-ish champion. He is frankly a freaking god at the vanilla-ish version of this game, to the point where he's built a task for it. He knows all about how to route Earth or Ice Cave, how terrifying it is, how many runs he's reset in here. Like, don't get me wrong, Ice Cave is terrifying in the vanilla game. If you want more strats, by the way, talk to him for that. But in the randomizer, it's not nearly the same level of scary, because like the biggest threats, mages, sorcerers, they're not doing anything anymore, for the most part. This fight you should be running by. Oh, these Frost Giants have a billion HP. Oh, okay, not so bad here, but I would be running from that because they're not worth that much experience and they can have a lot of EXP or lots of HP. Okay, let's get things sped up here again. Yeah, Bert's really good at the vanilla-ish category, like solo runs, full party runs. I think he has the leaderboards for all of them. If you're like a big vanilla player, Weirdo, you might want to check out vanilla-ish, the vanilla-ish leaderboards in the Discord. Uh, lots of it's not very active right now, but I'm pretty sure a bunch of people would be pretty pumped if it got a little bit more active again. And using vanilla strats is like the name of the game there. Mages, EXP pinatas, and you got an ambush. No. I understand. I know where it's coming from, but like, if people haven't played this before, you fade that, you kill that for sure. Especially because you have very limited dungeon left. That's something to talk about, like spell conservation, right? Yeah, for sure, for sure. But like talking about spell conservation, right? Like you need to save your fades in case there's unrunnable enemies. But as you get closer to the end of the dungeon, if you start hitting high XP enemies, you can start casting your spells a little bit more because you can know that you don't have so much dungeon left that you can't get out. Also, things like this is where Zap is really important because yes, we have Fade now, but like having Zap as a backup, excuse me, if you accidentally run out of Fade, and Zap once again can kill anything in this game with a relatively, you know, middling percentage. Having that as a backup is really important for a low-level spell. There's your second ribbon. It's going to go on your knight, I assume. Yep, that's a good decision. Awesome. Yep. Everything else. Armor screen's looking pretty good. Minor optimization in that room. You can walk along the bottom again. Good. Hey, floater. Vanilla floater. How happy did that make you, Weirdo? Did you just like, oh, I'm just playing the vanilla game? Is this even randomized? Exit. Cool. And save. Don't take a step. Just save. Save. Excellent. Don't even take the one step. If you wipe after like a long ice cave, you're gonna like punch your screen. You're gonna Danny so hard. You're just gonna swear and throw your controller. So save. I've seen it happen in very, very, very high stress situations, and people have gotten so upset. So get in the habit. You exit out of a dungeon, just save. Yeah, exactly. Also, I guess it's worth pointing out here that this is 1.75 times speed, and your menuing looks kind of similar to a runner in at full speed. So you probably have a good 20 minutes throughout the run just saved in terms of 20 to 30 minutes just saved in menuing efficiency, decision making, and tech speed up. Just as a note. So like if you're wondering where you've lost some time, that's definitely somewhere you have. On the other hand, like routing, you have very little time that you can realistically save. But it's mostly like party comp, decision making, menuing, where like there's lots of time to be saved here. I really do expect that. Like with the level of knowledge you're displaying, I do expect your next run's going to be like probably touching the 2 hour mark. I would guess like maybe 2 hours, maybe sub 2 hours is possible. But like I think you have a lot of time saved in your next run. Yeah, you can camp anywhere, but you can't land anywhere with your floater. Minor efficiency here, Sir Lancelot's favorite little dance to make. Let's see if we see it. Right here. Instead of exiting the river system right there, you exit right here. And then you get free step, or sorry, free step, free step, free step, free step, free step, free step, walk. So little zigzag, and you'll see Sir Lancelot. I don't know if I can't remember Sir Lancelot if you're running. I think you're running again tonight, but you'll see him just dance here because you can dance here for hours if you wanted, and never get an encounter because these are all free steps. So he likes to do that on the Duckling restream, but it's a really good thing to point out. Same thing with the 1 euro deals. I am going to take a quick like 2 minute break here at the 1 hour mark of this video as I need to make some more tea. Um, and my voice is going to give out, and I do have like 3-4 hour broadcast to do tonight as well. But we'll see where we get to. Maybe if there's a natural stopping point, I will just make myself that tea. But I'm going to come right back. This is something. This is an interesting run. It's a really unique, um, like new, like with big quotes player run, because like the knowledge gap that you have is quite different than a lot of players. Your knowledge gap is very much about the randomizer and how it changes things. It's not about like vanilla things, which I think a lot of new players struggle with, because the vanilla game is a hot mess and learning all those various nuances is really difficult. Um, so it's interesting because we get to really talk about why the randomizer is different from everything from spells to party comp to routing decisions to where's scary, where's not, etc. Like in this game, imps are scary. In this randomized version, imps are way scarier than any of the enemies in Ice Cave. That is like what, but definitely the case. Yeah, a hot mess, a very hot mess indeed. Uh, okay, why are we checking level 7 magic? Um, let's take a look at our chart. We are in Gaia. With a red wizard, they cannot learn any magic except for level 1 black magic. Now, what level do we need to get level 7 spells? And also, what black magic spells are we missing? I think the only one we would care about is fast. So maybe it's worth taking a look at level 7 black magic just for fast at slot 1. But if it's not there, you're moving right along. Something that I talked about in the last VOD review I did a lot was like what spells you care about and when you can stop checking magic swaps entirely. If you have nuke, fast, temper, lock for black magic, you're done. You literally don't need any other black magic. Like yes, Brack would be like nice and things like that, but those four, you're pretty much good. Um, on the other hand, white magic, life, life 2, cure 4, heal 3, fade. If you have those 5, you're probably good at this scaling. Other spells you care about are like Invis 2, Wall, Ruse. But like at this scaling, you don't need Invis 2. You can just speed and power your way through like a lot of things. Yeah, so like a lot, of course. Yeah, I know. Invis 2 is, but there's other ways to get evasion too. If you have a defense sword, you don't really need Invis 2 to the same extent. But you know these spells that are so important. Yes, we need to be thinking about them. But with only a red mage here, like I would not even be checking this magic shop. Also, yeah, if you forgot what town was Gaia, yeah, that's also fair. Gaia is the best town to live in. In terms of where you want to live in the Final Fantasy 1 universe, you want to live in Onrak or Gaia, definitely. Melmond is a shithole. Melmond is the worst town to live in. Canary is okay. It's kind of like living in Ottawa, or sorry, my Canadian is showing. Kind of like living in Washington. Like there's a bunch of politics going on there. There's the princess, but you know, Gaia is like a mountain resort, and Onrak is a sea resort with like the nicest inn. So yeah, definitely want to live in Gaia or Onrak. Um, yeah, so softs you basically always want to buy like 1 to 3 if you can afford it, and that should be good for the whole game unless something has nasty. Okay, I mean this is pretty self-explanatory, but or that, not sorry. Let me rephrase that. This is the same explanation I just had about level 7, but worse, because level 8 magic you literally can't learn. So, once again, it's not that I'm saying you're an idiot. I'm just saying that like there's no reason to do this, and once we like get out of those vanilla habits, we can like save a lot of time. Yeah, I'm aware. I lost time not fully knowing where what was where. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Not a big issue. Just like I'm trying to put points in your mind to think like it's more about adding the question of should I be checking a vanilla magic shop or should I be checking a magic shop rather than saying that it's wrong to check this magic shop. It's just like put the question in your head and have a justification for why you're checking a magic shop, especially at level 7 and 8 and maybe even level 6. If you have that in your head, then you're doing great. I don't care what decision you come to, but like start asking that question because it's different in the randomizer than it is in the vanilla game. Uh, perfect boat plate or airship placement. Good job. You did not fall to the Nintendo Power trap of like leaving the airship, excuse me, down below. Ah, yes, yes. So, yeah, I mean, talking about okay, good call, good call. I mean, realizing you had the float, the tail. So, a couple things about tail. If you don't have a black belt in your comp, basically as soon as you get in the air, you should promote. There's an exception if you're never going to promote for like veteran racers, but for the most part for newer players, once you're in the air, go promote if you have the tail. If you have a black belt, there's the whole MDef discussion. But generally speaking, if you have a black belt, you probably don't want to promote until you do your grind. Just generally speaking, because your black belt's MDef is going to get so much worse. This party is a little bit of a weird one. Once again, in SG Live, the decision would be whether you're going with a fighter comp or a black belt comp would decide if your primary damage dealer is your black belt or your fighter. You would be deciding whether to promote or not based off that. If it's fighter, you promote. If it's black belt, you don't. But for the most part, when you're in the air, if you have the tail, go promote right away. The reason is you want to get spell charges for your fighter or your knight ninja right away. And then the reason you don't want to is the black belt master MDef issue. Yeah, exactly. So in this situation, I don't think your black belt's that big of a deal. Your fighter's going to get a Masa, or you didn't decide to, but your fighter should get a Masa in most situations. So I would just go promote. Sorry, Merville. I saw your message. I just was finishing my point. Ooh, hello, Gas Dragon. This is kind of scary, but you probably want to kill this for EXP. I don't know if it's because of random spells plus the original permissions being on, but I never seem to get level 6 spells from my red mages. Well, oh, no! EXP pinatas! Okay, we know the reason, but sorcerers, like, my favorite enemies to kill. Like, sorcerers, people who played a lot of vanilla have, like, a hatred relationship with sorcerers. I love sorcerers. I see sorcerers, I'm like, yes! And then I cast, like, garbage spells and kill them in 3 rounds and get a bunch of EXP. See, you can tell I only beat vanilla like once, but I played the randomizer for like 8 months. So that box here is linked with the one on the pillar floor. So you don't need to open the box in the pillar floor. The only reason you check that box is if you want to check the grind tile, because it is a unique grind tile, and if you have a black belt and you're looking for a grind, you can check that tile. But for the most part, you don't need to open it. Now, obviously, I knew this, but this is the reason why we don't want to go to Volcano first, because you're always opening all the boxes in ordeals, and we've now found both our loose items, so you could choose not to open another box for the rest of the game at this point, and not be at the risk of not being able to finish. Yes, you might have gear problems, and I know that you've discussed not knowing when gear is good and not, but yeah, this is the reason why routing is gonna make a difference. Now, higher level strategy might say go to Volcano, try and find a loose item, get an advantage over whoever you're racing against. But that's like long-term race strategy. Vanilla, like non-meta strategy, is go to your incentive locations and full clear them. Because if the loose items are there, you don't need to open boxes in Volcano, Earth Cave, Sky, Sea. Yeah, so the reason you don't get level 6 spells for your red mage is because red mages can't learn level 6 spells. The actual reason is probably because you're mostly thinking about black magic and there's only a single slot that matters. In this case, it is nuke though. But these are really, really important white magic slots for the red mage. Like, I've gotten life, bailed out on life here so many times. So I would definitely revise that thought that red mages don't learn level 6 spells. Because I've learned life or cure 4 here like more times than I can count. And you can exit out now, but you can take the tile if you want to. So I lose a lot of times opening stuff if I could have went straight on that. But what I know and what I don't know. Exactly. This is like, ooh, nice exit. Thumbs up for exit. Maybe that's what I need to do every time a duckling exits at the right time. Just thumbs up for exit. Yeah, this is like super, super common problem for players who just, not problem, but like time loss for players who just started the randomizer. Is they open way too many boxes. And it's because they don't know when it's safe to not open boxes, and that's because they don't have a lot of experience with beating the end of the game with like different gear sets. But for this flag set, like with a ribbon, you're basically in go mode. Just buy 4 gold bracelets or iron bracelet or iron armor or steel armor or whatever. Equip your Masa and go win. Here's the other place that Sir Lancelot likes to meme, but like you save steps by walking across here, up, and then right. Because these are all free steps, versus the way that you go. This is like super minor, but I'm going to point it out because there's people here. The way you here, you're getting, I think 3 steps of river tiles. 1, 2, Oh, okay, you only got one extra river tile step, so pretty small actually, but still, one step's one step. So I guess what that is actually is showing that you're learning, even in the seed, as you said, like you kind of realized a bunch of stuff halfway through, or like as you were doing it, you're like, oh right, that. So like even that was a good implementation of like, hey, I know that I want to take extra steps off the river. So good job. Okay, we're gonna take a 2 minute break here while I go get some tea. Um, and then we'll be right back. Thanks for if if you gotta go, you gotta go. But I appreciate anyone who sticks around for just like a minute or two while I go and refresh my voice. And we're back. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I turned my headset turned off as well. So a few notes. Shados, thanks for coming back. Sorry about that. I just needed some tea as I've been talking for like an hour and a half straight at this rate. Merville, thanks for hanging out. This will be on Twitch for 2 weeks. If not, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to export things to YouTube, but if I do, I'll let you know. And Weirdo, let's see what you're saying. So after deals, I lose a lot of time to thinking and chest running. I was pretty happy with the first half of the run, but the soul starts showing here on me. Hey Septimus, how's it going? Septimus is like 10 out of 10 dev, also runs our elections, so shoutouts to Septimus here. Thanks a lot for running the elections. I'm kind of excited to see what happens tonight. I think 10 p.m. my time. Okay, awesome. Well, is there anything in particular, Weirdo, that you want to highlight, or do you kind of know what mistakes you made? Um, yeah, of course not. Of course, no problem. And Marvel, if once again, like you've been hanging out quite a bit, but if you ever wanna if you wanna run an entrance floor shuffle seed, for example, I can send you some flags and I can do a VOD review of that, and we can go into like all sorts of fun stuff about entrance floor. I really enjoy doing these VOD reviews. I think it's really cool to hang out and you know see the way people think, and sometimes I learn stuff too about like the new players having really good ideas. So yeah, but I think like an entrance floor one would be really interesting, especially if it's something that you want to learn about. Okay, obviously exiting out here is faster. Sorry, I always use the word obviously as in like, oh, of course, but like exiting out there is going to be a lot faster. Like efficiency on upgrades. I don't know if I should have hit up spells for them. Okay, let's. I don't know what you mean by efficiency on upgrades. Oh, like promoted characters. I see. So there's only one spell that matters right now that you've promoted that you can get now, which is Nuke. Nothing else makes any difference really. The only other thing is if you want your fighter can learn Fade, and that might be something that's worthwhile doing, but other than that, there's not really any spells that are going to be worth coming back for. Um, yeah, exit you don't usually need another exit caster because you've already done the main places you exit out of, which are Deal's Ice Cave. I guess Waterfall, but like your red mage should survive Waterfall. Merville, I'll run this league gladly, but I did not hear the other part of what I said. Oh, I just said that, yay. If you want to stream some entrance floor, I can do a VOD review on it because I enjoy it, and also I'm glad that you'll be able to sit for an entire run soon, and thanks for hanging out during these. Okay, these always are dead ends as well. Oh, this is the first time I've seen you make like a vanilla mistake. Those dead ends continue to be dead in the randomizer. So, yeah. Checking the Cardia Isles once you're in the air is actually a good idea a lot of the time in a loose flag set because they're really fast checks, and you get to open a bunch of boxes for free. But now that we found both loose, once again, what's our win condition? Masa, Ribbon. We have a white shirt, which is great. Masa, Ribbon, Power Bonk, gold bracelets, and pro ranks. We're good to go. So we don't need to be opening any boxes for the most part here. But you know this. Like I know I'm saying this, but I want to point out that Cardia is a good general place to go once you're in the air after you promote in loose flag sets. But because you don't have any need for the boxes anymore, that's why it's a bad decision. So once again, it's like this is good, but in this situation, it's bad. I always forget which entrances are which. Yeah, so the ones so there's two dead ends. The one that's on the small island with nothing, and then Cardia double bottom. The bottom, that's the key part. I always call it Cardia double bottom, and it's the bottom entrance that has promotion. The top one does not have anything. And yeah, vanilla end can be weaker. That's not a big deal. I'm more commenting on it like it's impressive rather than like oh, how could you forget this? It's more like it's surprising to not have any major vanilla mistakes until now. Um, I had like fourth and fifth tier weapons and wasn't sure what I needed. Yeah, so this comes down to flag selection. This gear right now is endgame. Like you're already endgame gear here. Everything here is great except for the thief, but the thief doesn't matter. Black belt doesn't matter. Fighter, red mage, you're in like fantastic shape. So gear wise, you're good. Now we can go over. So weapon wise, you're not good. Weapon wise, what you're looking for at minimum, I guess you have a sun sword, so I guess that's like the bare minimum if you have fast and temper. But you have an incentive Masa. You have an incentive Masa. You can open. It's so much faster to do whatever ridiculous chain is required to get that incentive Masa than it is to open all the boxes, hoping to get the second best sword, which is like the Excal or the Vorpal, which are both like mediocre in various ways. So because you have that incentive Masa, that's why weapon doesn't matter. That's the only reason it doesn't matter. Best armor, it's a different game here. You're not necessarily looking for like maximum absorb, so that way you can like survive a punch from Kraken. Most of the time, what you're looking for is if Kraken punches me, I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna speed and power my way through so that he dies before he can kill me. We're gonna speed things up here a little bit. And then you cannot find Melman, which has Bahamut. So I'm not sure what I think you're just thinking here, which is totally fine. But we can definitely kill Kraken right now, and the reason we can kill Kraken right now is because we have Brack. Well, you only have one Black caster, which is kind of different. Most of the time you'd have two, which means two Brack casters. It's a 26.9% chance each time that you cast it. So I'd say you're in pretty good shape. But with only one, it's a little bit more sketchy. Um, but you probably should still be able to kill Kraken here. So at this situation, I would do Waterfall, and then just go kill Kraken. Or Ruse Invis to avoid the punch entirely. Yeah, exactly. Ruse Invis. I mean, you have two Invis 2 casters. I don't know if your red mage has Invis 2 actually, but you have a white shirt. But Invis 2 casting, the most dangerous thing of 50 to 150% fiends is that nuke is still 100% nuke. That's kind of like what I like to say. So, it doesn't matter what fiends, how much HP they have, or anything like that. Nuke is still nuke. So the most dangerous thing you can run into against all the fiends here is nuke. So what you want to do is you want to kill them before they get enough turns to cast nuke. Um, and in this case, evasion stacking is going to be slower in most cases than just casting fade, 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 or fade. Like in my case with my fighter rainbow, fade, fade, nuke, swing with a Masa. Like I killed all the fiends before they could kill me. I was not sure if I could kill Kraken. I didn't know Brack would drop him. Yeah, 100%. That makes a lot of sense. And with your current setup, Kraken's like, if you're just swinging weapons, Kraken's close. You don't have fast. You don't have the Masa. So it's definitely not 100%. Like, if you're killing Kraken with this current setup, what you do is you move the Thief and the Black Belt to slot 1 and 2. You have the Thief or the Black Belt, whoever's in slot 2, casting White Shirt each turn, and then you're tempering up your fighter, and then swinging at Kraken. And that would probably work, but it's a little bit slow, and a little bit risky. Ideally here, though, once again, I know, I'm so sorry, I've harped on the party so much, but ideally here, if you have two black casters, you just put your fighter and your thief slot 1 and 2. You have them swinging and casting white shirt, and then you're just going brack, 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 brack. And if you miss 7 or 8 bracks, then you just do it again. Because, once again, if you're opening no chests in C, it's not that long to get to C, and you really, really shouldn't miss 7 or 8 bracks. The random working of fiends was something I started learning right at the end how to take advantage of. Yeah, for sure. It's also a little bit of a disadvantage because you don't always know what they're like, but you can have general plans for them. And in this scaling, the general plan is I'm going to punch, carry, and I'm going to nuke and fade, carry, and lich, and I'm going to brack, Tia, and Kraken. That's going to be like your general plan, and then you can adjust from there. Sometimes it can be faster to damage if you have a Masa level 20 fighter and fast, but other times it's going to be, other things will change. How many bracks in a row? I don't know if Bert's still here. I don't think he is, but I don't know. Bert missed like 16 bracks in a row or something on stream. It was like atrocious. I don't know. Get your most bracks missed in chat. I think mine is. Ooh, what's the most bracks I missed? I think it's 12. The party section was to favor what I knew from vanilla. I think it was a great move for what I knew, but after going through it and knowing more, especially hearing from you, how I should be abusing magic way more. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, the main reason I'm like talking about it a lot is because it changes a lot of the strategies, and a lot of the like go fast strategies rely on the different party comp. But you've used this party well. Like, you have the levels now, you're starting to do damage. But like, you're going to be leaving Kraken behind, so that's going to be another like minute to 2 minute time lost of just navigating the globe. Yeah. Adrill hasn't actually played the randomizer yet, but he's watched a lot of streams, so he's saying that his pseudo number is 13 or 14 on that he watched on Restream. 8 link a lot. You need to brack some more fiends. How have you only missed 8? Septimus is basically a robot, though, and when you know the inner workings of the game, you can RNG manip the brack to always work, right? That's how this works. I'm just here for the memes and the background noise. I'm assuming you're going to check the shop right now. Yeah, Adrill, you're just painting, right? I'm just here for some background noise while you focus on trying to do metallics non-metallically. Metallic paint metallics without metallic paint. Yeah, so I knew that choice was a lack. Yeah, for sure. So here you can actually land on this square right here with the airship, rather than landing there and walking back. That is the closest spot that you can land to walk here, unless you land right on top of it. RNG manipulation by literally manipulating the code. Yeah, you can. Yeah. By the way, I wouldn't stop at Oasis because you've already found the shop item. But it's totally justified to stop Oasis before you go to OnRack to check if there's a shop item there. Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's cool. You already checked Sarda. That's good airship like instinct though. Like when you get the airstick, if you haven't already check started because of the ruby, you should almost always go there. Um, so at this point you're in go mode, right? Well, gold rings will never be for sale in the Oasis because gold rings are only ever for sale in the armor shops. Oh, thanks for the follow, Septimus. I appreciate that. Oh, and Shados as well. Both followed. I don't know why my latest follower doesn't update. I'll need to like fix that, but I appreciate both of those follows. Sorry, I don't have notifications or anything. I'm not a fancy streamer. We're just here for Final Fantasy randomizer information. So, do you have the key at this point? Because if you have the key, I think the reason you didn't get the Masa is because you didn't check Keylock Canaria. Yeah, FFR info better than fancy street things, exactly. But I do appreciate the follow nonetheless. Hopefully it will allow me to. It's good to have a multitude of opinions and ideas in chat because I find that when I'm doing these types of things, it helps the new players get different perspectives rather than just my own. Like, I'm a still somewhat new player, and I definitely don't have the vanilla mechanics down as much as I would like to, versus people like you and Classic Gamer and some of the other players really do know it. Oh, perfect. Thank you for correcting me. Shadows? Kind of like shadows, but shadows? Shadows. Shadows. Hopefully that's correct. Yeah, shadows. Okay, I got that. That's a good pronunciation guide. So yeah, so yeah, the question is we don't have the key. The waterfall was the rod. I think you haven't done one of the dwarf turn-ins. I think you didn't do TNT. I think that's where the key is. Um, so I don't know if you knew if no, Kaldaka, don't say that. I've been harping on this team comp for the entire stream. This team comp is going to win, and it definitely can win, but it's not fast. Ah, God. Thanks for hanging out, Kaldaka. So yeah, what I was talking about. So I don't know, Weirdo Wizard, did you know that Canaria Keylocked was incentivized? That's kind of the question. Because generally speaking, what I would be doing at this point in the game is being like, okay, before I dive another dungeon, I need to spell sap is in here. I need to determine, am I ready to win? And then once I'm ready to win, I'm just gonna go mode all the fiends. So because of that, what I would definitely recommend doing is finishing all your incentive chains as best as you can, and then just like diving the dungeons when they're nearby if you can beat them. So for example, doing Earth here is okay, but you obviously one shouldn't be opening boxes, but then two, after you do Earth, you finish the incentive chains near you, and then you're just done. Yeah, so you're not in go mode because you need the key to beat Temple of Fiends Revisited, which is like never something that comes up in the vanilla game, but there is a door in the Temple of Fiends Revisited that requires the key. So that's what you're missing for go mode. Now, what is in my head as a little bit more experienced runner who's like, I'm pretty tuned in to exactly what I need to win. I know that TNT is either going to lead to my key or the slab turn it is. And the other chain is going to lead to my Masa or Power Bonk. So what I would be doing is I'd turn in the TNT to try and find my key, because what I'm really looking for is my go mode here, go mode, is key, but then my actual go mode is key and Masa. Because once I get that guaranteed Masa, I have the weapon, I have the ribbons, I have a white shirt, I have everything else I need. I have all the spells that I can get. So there's nothing else in boxes that is going to improve anything enough that it's going to matter. The only things that would matter in boxes, like there's some very, very, very small improvements I can get. I can get a third ribbon, which is going to make like a really, really small deal. I could improve my ice armor to the dragon armor, but the additional absorb is negligible. The biggest advantage is the extra resistances, but I have a ribbon, so it doesn't matter. And I could increase my my shield to the Aegis shield, which is once again some additional absorb. The poison resist sometimes matters, but in this case, once again, I have a ribbon, so it doesn't matter. So I don't really need anything else here. So you're mostly opening for the third ribbon, but the thing is, your win condition, I guess it's a little bit changed because of the party comp, but you don't really need your thief. And your black belt's not going to be wearing a ribbon anyways. So the third ribbon's not like the end of the world here. Also, I guess another note, if you do want to open more boxes, opening all the key locked boxes, especially the Dwarf Cave one, the Canaria Castle ones, and the Elf Castle ones, are way faster than opening the boxes here. And if you're only looking for one item, you want to open the fastest chests first. Other fast chests include things like mermaids. Instead of doing full clearing earth, you can open all the boxes in mermaids and sea instead. So even if you are thinking I need to open up more boxes, which is definitely going to be the case sometimes, you want to open up boxes that are like faster rather than slow boxes, like the ones that are in Earth Cave here. Yeah, so you're missing the key still, but you have the TNT. So yeah, Narek the dwarf has your key. I've also been playing White Samurai and Vanilla the last one, so I'm used to slow. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I mean, when you don't go speed and power, it increases the likelihood that you need something like a ribbon. Because there's way more chance that they're going to get out Bane, Zap, Brack, Quad X. Versus if you kill them in 2 turns, they have maybe 1 spell opportunity. So even if they have Bane, Brack, Zap, Quad X on their spell list, it might be the second spell, and then they just never get to get it off. So speed and power strats, definitely something to take a look at. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I gotta give props. That was the correct, as I call it, the W route or the E route, depending on if you are you read sideways or you read up and down. Evidently, I read sideways. I don't remember who else read sideways, but someone was like, "It's a W," and I'm like, "You're right," but I'm gonna stick with my sideways E. Oh, I don't know if you're aware, but NPC Guillotine is on, so you can talk to bats and kill them. Um, Talking to bats and killing them is good. Speeds things up a lot. So yeah, definitely use NPC Guillotine. Your routing in this room is slightly incorrect unless you want to get this chest. Or sorry, unless you want to get this fight. Yeah, it's all good. But NPC Guillotine, greatest flag. Thank you to our devs. Sorry, I was 2 fingers. Okay, this room. We haven't seen this room before, so routing. There's a trap chest tile here. There's one here, and there's one here. So what you want to do is you want to walk left, free step, 1 step, open this box, back, free step, and then you want to walk straight up. So I don't know what this. Oh, it's a J. It's a J. You want to make a J like this. That's how you want to route this room. Okay. If you don't want any encounters. Oh god, the duck pond's gonna be like J's and W's, and people are gonna be like, what are people even talking about? Oh yeah, it's a backwards J. No, that's the right J. It's a normal. Oh, I guess from my camera, but like on the screen, it's like how you would read a J. Oh, we got some. Well, we got some animation here. I don't know if we're happy or unhappy, but we got some animation. Okay, that's fine. That's why we have 2 times speed. Think time is like part of being a duckling, and like you shouldn't be that mad about think time or anything like that. Like it's going to get better as you can make decisions faster. Something I would challenge you to do though is try and make fast decisions in game and then reflect on them later. Because like if you get in the habit of playing slow, thinking a lot in Seed, you're not going to ever train the ability to think fast. Versus if you think fast but make bad decisions, you can at least reflect and improve on it later. So like menuing fast, even if you make wrong decisions sometimes, I generally think it's better to like practice menuing fast and making bad decisions and then improve later. Okay, pop quiz in chat. What resistances do black shirts and white shirts provide? I don't know if we'll let the ducks answer first. Yeah, military thinking. I mean, I will not claim to have any understanding of the military, but exactly, a bad decision executed is better than a good decision you never go. And if you constantly execute fast, your fast execution is going to get better. Versus if you always execute slow but execute right, there's no improvement. Like, how do you do that better? Shadaus just like, oh, Kaldaka getting close. Okay. White shirt, thunder and cold. I don't think that's quite right. Lightning's right. I'll give you a hint. One of the ones for black shirt is time, which is like super random. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Fire and ice, or no, not fire and ice. That's not quite right. So it's black shirt is ice and time, and white shirt is fire and thunder, I believe. White. Oh, sorry, fire and death. Yeah, black, cold, time. There we go. Thank you, Septimus. Yeah, time is the element of zap and crack. Not crack. Zap and another thing. Of yeah, crack is earth element. Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't equip either of these shirts, which is just too bad. But definitely put that pro ring on that red mage. Okay, this is an interesting decision. Um, so silver bracelet provides I think 15 absorb, and pro ring provides 8. So this is 23 absorb, which is probably more than your black belt has levels right now. So this is strictly better because it also provides an additional death resistance. Yeah, stop and glare also time. Thank you, Rubes. How's it going, Rubes? Thanks for hanging out. Pro ring is just death, not death and earth. Calcing gear is good though. So you know how I just talked about making in-game decisions fast? Gear decisions are what you should be making slow. And the reason is because you can't really make snap gear decisions. You need to like learn what is best. So taking your time to do gear as a duckling is good. But taking the time in battle is really dangerous and overworld. So, oh, sorry, Septimus. I'll add you to my safe list, but you can also just DM me the link and I can post it here. I'll do that after the stream. I'll send it. I'll set a reminder for myself. I have like a list of people who I let post links just for safety, and I'll add you to it. But sorry about that. Yeah, you can't intuitively learn gear. I mean, you do later, but like it's okay to take some time to like figure out gear and stuff. I'm okay with that. But what you do need to like speed up is like menuing, in-game decisions, routing decisions. Execute fast, make mistakes. Septimus is getting cold. He's only timed out for 5 seconds. He should be back now. Oh no, but the white shirt, black shirt, fire and death versus ice and time. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think this is where you just go around and buy spells for everyone. So I'm not gonna like. We can move away for a second, but I also have this bookmarked. Cool. See all 3 elements. The Aegis shield, resist poison, death, fire, cold time, and here's all the stats as well. And then I shared this in the Discord recently, but here's my weapon score sheet. Oh no, Weirdo Wizard. You also got linked. Yeah, sorry, there is still a link bot, but here's the my Blurst weapon spell sheet. Um, and here's all their vanilla stats. If you switch over one tab, you can see all their vanilla stats. And then this is my calculations for their blursing scores. So lots of resources available for you. So yeah, definitely would recommend. Oh, okay. So sorry, we're coming back to the what I was doing. Yeah, if you made a set of links to quick reference, you can definitely post it in the Duckling Pond or stream links and setup. Yeah, oh yeah, here I'll post Septimus DM me this, so I'll post it in chat. This is the armors link because I have superpowers and I'm allowed to post links in my own chat. Okay, so what you're doing right now is something that you mentioned before. which is that you went all around and like obviously you opened up key locks, which is good. If you're going to open up boxes, key locks are fast. But the other thing you did is you went back to all the stores and said, okay, I'm promoted. What can I buy? And this just comes down to like future game knowledge. But knights can't learn level 4 magic, unfortunately. But I have a notepad that I use when I'm running. I use a digital one. Some people use like pen and paper. But I write down spells. I used to, anyways. I don't so much anymore because I can remember it. But like I write down spells I want to go back and buy once I promote. Whether it's for my knight or for my red mage or for my black mage, I write down spells that I'm like, I need to get this when I promote. If you don't do this, what the other thing you can do is check your magic. Like go to your magic screen of your mage so that way you can remember what you bought on your previous mages, and then you can just go back and buy those. That's the other good way instead of checking all the stores. So ideally, write down notes. Second worst case, you can just check your magic levels and remember, hey, my red mage has level 3 fade. I can go back and buy that. But the tricky one is when it's like, level 4 or slot 4 at level 1, which your red wizard can learn after promotion. That's where you really have to take that note, being like, life, slot 4, level 1, come back for it when I promote. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's not a big deal. I did want to point out, though, that there's just like, I'm glad that you reflected on this. I wasn't sure, like, the type of person, like, and how you were approaching improving from like what you were messaging in Discord. But I see now that like it's not that you don't think you have anywhere to like gain time on. It's that you weren't sure like exactly what direction to go, and like you had some notes yourself, but you didn't have all the notes. Like you're self-reflective and able to see like, hey, I lost time here, and here's what I'm going to improve. But you weren't sure like what the next steps to save some time outside of what you've already noted. And I think even just what you already noted for yourself, you would save a ton of time because you've already noted a lot of really important things. But I think some of the things that perhaps I've pointed out hopefully will accelerate you even more because I can see you being very fast very quickly here. Oh, so I go on go mode here, except for a trip to the mermaids, which is definitely not go mode routing for Sea Shrine, but that's okay. Mermaids is very high on my list of if I'm opening boxes, where to go early, because there's so many boxes and there's no encounters on the mermaid floor. I think most ducks knew that, but if you didn't, yeah, there's no encounters on the mermaid floor. So mermaids is great for a bunch of chests for very little time investment, especially with warp or exit. Small optimization here. You generally speaking want to put your casting items in slot 1, so menuing to them is faster. You haven't really cast any caster items, like swords or weapons or anything. But for things like the Invis shirt, power bonk, it can make a huge difference in Fiends to like save that extra menu slot. So like I've talked a little excuse me. I've talked a little bit about menu. I've talked a little bit about menu slot optimization for in terms of spells, but it also applies for items. So you want your most cast spells in the first slot, and you also want your item magic in the first slot. Like here, for example, that black shirt I would have here. That white shirt's in the right spot, though, for example. Yeah, people talk about chest location density, but really what they want to talk about chest time density. Yes, I 100% agree, and that is like a huge thing. Um, this applies like a lot in shard hunt flags, which are something that most of you guys probably haven't played yet. But the most important thing for shard hunt is not time, is not chest density. It's actually time per shard. Um, and I won't get into that too much, but basically things like mermaids is really really good because there's no encounters. So I exited rather than backtracked. Yes, that's correct. If you have warp, what you want to do is actually warp twice to the split floor, and then you can walk across if you're not scared of dying. Um, but otherwise, warping out, saving in the in, and then walking back, or exiting housing and then walking back in are like what you want to do. So exiting is definitely faster though than backtracking. Also, way safer. You get all your spell charges back, and you get full HP. Faster to go along the top there. I can see that you're checking maps and stuff, which is really good actually. Um, this whole thing about like execute fast, that practice executing fast is one thing, but like routing, you don't want to practice routing fast. No, you want to route right every single time because those things are not things that change that much. You want to just like practice the right routes, practice the like through dungeons. Practice the right routes through dungeons, practice getting the right armor and stuff, and then just menu fast, execute fast, make decisions fast. Yep, nice. I like the fade decision here. Yeah, Sea Shrine is a weird one. Just wait. So sometimes characters aren't going to do anything, and that's fine. Just wait. By wait, what I mean is you can just like cast a non-caster item, and they just do nothing. So like definitely feel free to do that. I continue to argue your definition of go moding, uh, weirdo wizard. What, making the decision, and I've talked about this to Kaldaka, I talked about this to some of the other ducklings here in chat. I don't think I've talked about it to Rubes, but that's because Rubes is already great at this game. But like knowing when you're in go mode and committing to that go mode is really really important. So being like, I'm in go mode. I feel like I can beat Temple of Fiends Revisited with what I have. Maybe it's not 100%, but it's like 80% or 90%. You got to commit to it and just be like, I'm opening no more boxes. I'm going to take levels until I'm X level, and then I'm going to stop taking fights as best I can and just going. And it's a really, really challenging skill because the hardest part of that equation is not just saying I'm going to go. The hardest part of that equation is saying I know I'm like 80 or 90% chance to beat Temple of Fiends Revisited. That's like a really complicated question and something that requires knowledge of the flags, knowledge understanding of the randomizer, knowledge understanding of the bosses, and also just a bunch of experience. So like I get that that's difficult, but that's something you should practice being like, what do I need? What else am I looking for? If you can ask the right question, you should get better at getting to the right answer. And in this case, the right question is, what am I looking for in these boxes? Why am I still opening chests? And if you don't have an answer, then you probably shouldn't be opening chests. If you have an answer, you might be wrong, but like commit to the answer. If that answer is I'm looking for a ribbon, then that's fine. But like be like, I'm looking for a ribbon. That's what I'm opening boxes for. Once I get a ribbon, I'm going to stop opening boxes. I'm totally fine with that. If you feel you need 3 ribbons for safety, do that. But like commit to that thought pattern rather than just being like, I'm going to open the boxes. Yeah, okay. So like if you have an idea, that's fine. I mean, based off my experience, I disagree with that that's what you need, but I'm okay with everyone having their own like comfort levels and their own like what they're thinking of. As long as you're asking that question and are willing to stop opening boxes, I think you're in the right direction. So I run vanilla though chaos usually level 16 to 22. Yeah, so we kind of talked a little bit about level preparedness before, but like the big thing here is incentive massa fighter at level 24 without fast is like what I would be looking for. The other thing to keep in mind, of course, is that like experience is so different here than the vanilla that like grinding to 24 is like a totally different scenario than what it would be like in vanilla where you would like take hours. In this case, all you probably have to do is just take some fights on the Sea Shrine, which you did, and then take some fights in Sky or Mirage, and you'll probably hit the level that you need. This Kraken fight, not much to note. If you had fast, I would definitely be casting fast, but I know you don't, so like this is okay. Um, this fight is way more dangerous once again than it would be in other situations because you don't have fade. But because of the, or sorry, because you aren't casting double brack every turn. But I like that you're going defensive. Like this is the right adjustment for this party comp and how much damage you're doing, and like you expect this to be a little bit more of a drawn out fight, so you're going with the safer strategies, which I think is correct. So good adjustment here. Yeah, like we talked about grinding up to level 42, and I've never seen above level 30. You will see above 42 at some point. I guarantee it. I don't know if like the week 3 flag sets are like super high. I don't know. I don't know if Sterling Cloud or DVS are here still, but like actually DVS doesn't know them yet. But I feel like they're probably closer to level 32 flag sets than 42 flag sets, but you could easily go to 42 on them. The experience is like 10% per key item. Actually, no, free enterprise. There we go. That's the flag set that you're going to see level 42 on. It's like 5.0 experience, 20% per key item. So you're getting, to get a level, you need 7 times less experience. Yeah, that's how you're going to get to level 42. So I think the level I just saw was 24 there. So you're basically good to go in terms of levels, in my opinion. Once again, you didn't get the Masa, so it's like a big difference because the Sun Sword's extra hit, I think, is at level 29. So like it's a lot higher. But if you had the Masa level 24, you'd get that extra hit breakpoint. And a lot of the times, if you talk to vets, there's 2 things that they're doing for the levels that you want. They either think weapon breakpoints, or they say, I'm going to grind until I run out of spell charges and just call that good enough. So those are kind of the 2 different times and the ways that people think about it. But I would mostly be thinking about level. For the duck flags, I would generally just be thinking, what weapon am I swinging? Black Belt Fists, 24 or 32. Masa, 24. Defense or Sunsword, 29. And those are all pinned in one of the channels with all those like weapon breakpoints. Yeah. Level was high enough, yeah, but the geared out, yeah. So the geared out, there's no need for the geared out, in my opinion at least, but that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. The only spell that you're really looking for is fast, but so I wouldn't blame you for like trying to find fast, but the issue is that you don't have a black mage who can cast it anyways because your red mage can't learn it. So that's okay. I think getting hung up on like the time you spent looking for spells is probably like I think that's a really easy thing to fix. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Like, you can be like, hey, I spent too much time on spells here. I'm going to fix that. I don't think that's like a hard fix. I think these other things, like the high level concepts and strategies, are what's going to take longer and what you should be thinking about in the seeds more so. Like, what do I need to win? Because I think if you ask, what do I need to win? It's a lot like, I don't know if people play Magic or like I listen to like limited resources in the past, for example, but like there's a lot of talk about having a plan, and I think that just like really, really applies to Final Fantasy. Like if you have a plan, you're going to be in so much better shape. Oh, this is minor, but you're going to be in so much better shape than if you don't have a plan. So have a plan on how you're going to win, and then try and execute on it. Okay, small thing. Flame armor, ice armor. You always want to split them if possible. So like if you want to maximize your resistances, you want to switch the flame and the ice armor. So that way someone has the flame shield and the ice armor to get resistance to both ice and fire. But that's pretty small. So you got the ribbon. I guess, okay, based off your previous list, I understand right now what you're looking for is Excal and Dragon Armor. But if you just had, hey, I just need the ribbon, what you do there is you open the box with the ribbon, you say, I'm done, exit, save outside, and then go. I felt like Lithuania was such a slog travel-wise. I skipped it even more, though it's definitely Masa. Actually, so in this seed, the Masa was in Keylock Canaria, because that was incentivized. And that's a really, really, really fast check. So, yeah. Is elemental resistance just binary? You have it or you don't. Yes, that's correct. So there's another calculation, which is whether or not a spell hits for some things. And that's based off MDEF, magic defense, and the spell's hit rate. So that's a different calculation. But in terms of resistances, you either resist it or you don't. I like to use the Pokemon analogy. There's like super effective, or sorry, there's super effective, neutral effectiveness, or not effective. Yeah, and you just forgot to tech. Yeah, which could have also cost you, because that's incentivized. And if that had the loot or something, of course it didn't in this case, but if it has an important item, you would just be like not able to beat the game. So, the great Vorpal discussion. So I don't know what team people in chat are on, if they're on Team Vorpal or Team Not Vorpal, but the Vorpal is a very interesting item or weapon. It has the highest crit rate in the game. Of course, once again, vanilla differences. The crit rates are all fixed, so the Xcal is not stronger than the Vorpal in terms of crit because, yeah, the Xcal's crit rate is terrible. It's 5% versus the Vorpal's, which is 30%. But yeah, the Vorpal's crit rate, it is a very good weapon against high absorbed fiends. Team math, yeah, exactly. The Vorpal, yeah, team regardless, the Vorpal is a very good weapon against high absorbed fiends. With 50 to 150% raw damage is probably going to matter more than crit, except for maybe Chaos, maybe Tia. But the big thing about the Vorpal is if bosses are high absorb, which means they're high potential scaling. The crits on the Vorpal are going to matter way more than the raw damage, because the raw damage is just going to get completely absorb blocked, which means that the crits are going to matter a lot more. So what a lot of... Now, the problem with the Vorpal is it has low base damage, so you generally need tempers or power bonks. So how you kind of debate the whole like Xcal versus Vorpal thing is you use the Xcal for 90% of the seed. On the final bosses, Kraken, Tia, Chaos, you want to cast Temper, and you want to use the Vorpal. If you have Temper and you have the Vorpal, it's going to probably do better. If they're low scaling or you don't have Temper, you're going to want to use the Xcal still. Oh, okay, sorry, let me rephrase that. Katana is strictly better than the Vorpal. Katana is a better Vorpal. The problem with the Katana is it's only equipable by the Thief. The Vorpal, I'm talking about on the fighter in particular. Uh, the Vorpal is a better endgame weapon against Chaos at high scalings than the Excalibur is, for example, because of the fact that you can temper up damage, but you can't temper up crit rate. There's no way to change crit rate, and crit rate's more important against high absorb fiends. This is your last fiend dungeon, though, so, you know, good stuff on that. You can kind of skip ahead if you're just opening boxes here, though. These boxes are going to take some time. Sorry, I hope if I'm skipping anything important, you can definitely let me know. But if you're just opening boxes in Sky, I think we've kind of covered most of the stuff. Yeah, gear variety was a small portion. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I think something that's different than vanilla is that like gear just doesn't matter that much. You're going to speed and power your way through so many of the fiends that like a little bit of extra absorb isn't going to make a big difference. The reason the ribbon matters for the most part is because your your life caster getting insta-deathed or your primary melee damage dealer getting insta-death will lose you a chaos run. But most of the time you're not protecting against a big Kraken punch anyways. So gear matters, but speed and power is just like so much better in most cases. It's just a different mindset though. Weirdo Wizard, if you'd like to like min-max and things like that, you may want to take a look at the Iron Gall as well, because like the more difficult flag sets, these more like small things tend to make a bigger difference, versus like these Duckling flag sets are very much about like optimum speed. I left for a minute to edit the videos of my run. Oh, awesome. Okay. Are you looking for like a review of them, or are you just saying that so that you know people can take a look at it? Because you know, good either way. I definitely can't do another one today because my voice is going to give out, considering I have like a 3.5 hour Duckling stream tonight. But I can definitely get it to it at some point this week. Okay. 4 orblets, yay! So yeah, the biggest scary thing about this Temple of Fiends Revisited is just the fact that you're not going to get the Masa from Canaria keylocked, and that's going to like hurt a lot. But okay, so checklist. We have Ribbon. Endgame Sword is okay. We have Sun Sword slash Vorpal, and that's like Sun Sword for most of it, and then Vorpal for the final bosses. Oh, sorry, Xcal slash Vorpal, or sorry, Xcal slash Vorpal. So that's okay. I'd say swords were looking good. We also have backup katana, which is good. No fast, boo, but that's okay. We have tempers. We have white shirt, so we have infinite invis casts, which is good. Overall, the one big issue is we don't have life, but we do have 3 ribbons, so this is a pretty good dive. What was your time? You got 128. That's pretty fast. I mean, you got to push the limits a little bit. Like you got to play risky in order to get fast. Otherwise, if you never push the limits, you're never going to learn what the limits are in the future. So like, yeah. I think the reason my time is the fastest right now is because every vet who's better than me wiped in Temple of Fiends Revisited because they just played a little bit too risky. Slash got a little bit unlucky. Because most of them won on their second dies with no changes. The big thing is that none of them had access to life because they didn't bring a white mage, because white mages are slow. And that that cost them. But like I know Ale, Ragglypuff, they all had like 104, 106s, and they just wiped in Topher. Topher, of course, is Temple of Fiends Revisited, if you're not familiar with the acronym, and it's this what we're in right now. This looks like map strats, but like good map strats. Definitely memorize this route. It never changes. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, the amount of time that you lost trying to be this safe without life, you probably could have made up if you just brought a white mage and guaranteed the fact that you had life. Yeah, for sure, Septimus. Is there going to be? Sorry, I do have a question that's actually kind of important. Is there going to be a new version release? Okay. Um, Crap. That's okay. I vetted a seed. Yeah. It's okay. I vetted a seed for the Duckling Weekly, but we're gonna have to vet a seed at like midnight tonight. For the Duckling Weekly on Monday. I had a really good time on it too. Darn. What was my time on that Duckling Weekly? I think I had like a 57 or something. 56. Yeah, I had a 56. Oh well. Rest in pieces. Nah, it's okay. We can probably vet a new one. These flags aren't like so risky that like trying to vet a seed is like that difficult. Yeah, as a specter, it take me forever to part. Temple of Fiends. Oh, actually, it is. No, it is Temple of Fiends bracket revisited because it's the Temple of Fiends revisited 2,000 years in the past. So the reason we call it Fiend Refights is because, yeah, so it is the Temple of Fiends revisited is actually the correct parsing. Because if anyone paid attention to the story, this is 2,000 years in the past. But story? In Final Fantasy? That's not important. Yeah, so in Temple of Fiends Revisited, generally speaking, the strategy should be if you're not high enough level before you walk in, you're probably not high enough level. So, except for taking unrunnables, you want to be running from everything. And because of that, conserving spell charges is the right move. Yes, games having stories, that's like a myth. Yeah, exactly. So, for the record, he's referring to the fact that I'm like notoriously for like spamming through text boxes and things like that. I like to play difficult video games mostly are like randomizers where story's not the main focus. To each their own. This is scary. Go pro rings. Ooh, go ribbons. Oh no, do we not have softs? Oh no, okay, no, we have softs. Weirdo Wizard has softs. Generally speaking, we don't need only person I know who puts good story in the cons column. Okay, to be fair, I actually do like the story in Hades. That's a pretty good one. It does. I even take the time to go talk to characters because the problem is it progresses my gear. I have to talk to them, otherwise I can't get more gameplay. Nah, it's a pretty good story. I mean, if it's really good, I think it's more like the cutscene style of story that I dislike versus like ones that are like integrated into gameplay. And that's just like personal preference. Yeah. Rush killing the Agmas is a good call. Like if you know something's scary, like rush kill. But keep in mind, Quad X is not scary. You cannot be hit by Quad X with Pro Rings on. It's impossible. Unlike other spells which have a 3 and 256, Quad X will not work. So Quad X isn't actually scary. All games are evolving towards dating sims. Yeah, pretty much. Frickin' Final Fantasy, or not Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem. I love the Fire Emblem games, but the more recent ones I just can't play. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like Bane, Brack, all those do have that 3 and 256 chance, but Quad X is one of the ones that does not. So, yeah, get pumped. That was a good carry fight. So something that you should be doing here on this next fight, I don't know if you do or not. Okay, good map check. Do this floor right. That's good. Um, but something that you should be doing on this Kraken fight is moving your thief to the first slot. He is by far the least important. Oh, actually, maybe your black belt. One of these two characters is the least important character in your party, and you want to make sure that if someone gets punched, it's them first rather than your knight. If your knight, sure, your knight might have more absorb, but if your knight gets crit through, your run is in trouble. Versus if your black belt or your thief dies, it's not a big deal. Okay, you forget to do that, which is totally fine. Like, once again, it's not like, hey, you didn't do this, but it's almost certainly the correct play here. Other small thing, you didn't walk along the bottom of the of here or here, so those are extra steps that you could save. So like here, for example, walking along the bottom here, once again, those extra steps along the bottom, those are all empty steps. So yes, we want to conserve spell charges, but yeah, we can cast a little bit of Fade. Yeah, maybe a Lit 2 here. Zoo Scotland. Perfect. Good decision. Oh, come on, Zoo Scotland. Yeah, there we go. That's good. I forgot to do on Catalyst. Yeah, exactly. Which is all good. Overall, though, this Temple of Fiends Revisited has been pretty solid. I've been liking what I'm seeing. For this party comp, once again, things are a little bit different than what they would be with a more traditional party comp, but I think what you're doing is using it well. The big thing is like Temple of Fiends is like, how do I kill each fiend? What's my plan? What do I want to go wrong if it goes wrong? And what's like my worst case scenario? And like, how do I play with all those? Run, just run, just run. Your thief is like 95% chance to get away from this. Run chance is based not on enemy, it's actually based on a combination of luck and level. So, yeah. Swing, swing. Yeah, there's a debate here between Fade and Temper, but Fade is probably fine. I like the white shirt here. I like all the play here. Actually, so to be honest, what I would be doing here is I'd be swinging with my ninja who's swinging a katana, because that's going to do a lot of damage. That's probably going to do more damage than my fighter at this point. And just saying, you know what, whoever Kraken punches might die, but I'm going to kill him in 2 turns for sure. Invis is probably not going to be the difference between someone... One Invis cast is probably not going to be the difference between someone living and someone dying. Killing Kraken before he gets a chance to do anything probably is. Right? Because like, your ninja could have done an extra 500 damage at this point, which Kraken means he would be dead. There, you got good turn order, so it's okay. But if you can kill Kraken before he kills you, that's probably better. Yeah, I noticed that run borking was fixed. Yeah. Thieves are really good at running. Although, if you talk to people in the community, they're going to argue that thieves are still barked and don't run when they need them to. But 10% chance of something happening is still 10%. People don't do probability very well. On Tiamat and for Chaos, I like the Invis 2 strats, by the way. Kraken is so dangerous that usually you want to like kill him before he punches you, but for Tiamat and Chaos, it's okay to play a little bit more defensively. I'll still sometimes speed and power strat Tia at 50 to 150 especially, but like on higher scalings, getting up a little bit of evasion is probably good, at least until you see him punch. If he punches you and does 0 damage, then there's no point to evasion stacking. But here, this is a good call to do a little bit of evasion stacking, and it paid off nicely there for you. So good strategies there. Yeah. I like it. That was good. Pivoting your strategy during the fight is important. Like if Kraken punches you and hits you for like 10 damage, stop stacking evade, just kill him. If Chaos misses first punch, that's very different than if you need locks and stuff. So like having a plan and then adjusting in the middle of the fight is a good idea. Yeah, so here definitely your plan is either to temper the black belt or the fighter. Whoever you're planning on tempering should be in slot 3, and whoever you're not planning on tempering should be in slot 1. Whoever's not tempering should be casting Invis 2. The red mage either is casting Invis 2 with the white shirt each turn, or is starting with tempering. And how I would determine that, I would probably cast Invis 2 first turn, and then I would try a sample punch. If Chaos has high absorb, you probably need tempers. So... Oh, you shouted in stream as you forgot to reorder them. So... Yeah, so my strategy here, I would probably be going all in on the fighter. Okay, I would switch to the Vorpal, and then I would probably be going all in on the fighter. Move the fighter here, move the black belt to slot 1. Move the white shirt onto the black belt. Black belt, white shirt, Invis 2, turn 1, and try and swing with the knight. If the knight damages him okay, and doesn't miss a lot, I maybe go for max evasion first. If the knight doesn't damage him okay, I'm probably going temper next turn. The reason being is it's whatever is more risky. And I think the more risky thing here is that your red mage gets nuked before it gets off enough damage buffs for your fighter. So that would be my gut. I think there's also an argument to be made if it's just the Vorpal on the fighter instead of the Masa of going with your black belt, like all in on your black belt, because your crit rate isn't halved. So alternatively, you could be black belt slot 3, knight slot 1 casting Invis 2 with the white shirt, and then tempering the black belt. But that's what my rough strategy would be in this situation. Let's see what you do. So your swing, Okay, definitely a mistake to not move the white shirt off the ninja. If you did, I don't think you did. That's pretty bad because if your red mage gets 400 damage nuked right now, that's really bad. Invis 2, hopefully. Okay, I like the debating here. Boss strategies, yeah, so, okay, that's good damage. Yeah, Black Belt doing way more damage. This is because the crit rate on the XL is terrible, and Chaos has high absorb. So the Black Belt's damage was mostly through probably 2 of those punches crit, and that did most of the damage. The Black Belt, or the Knight has higher raw damage, but the 5% crit rate is terrible. So going all in on the Black Belt here is probably better. If you have a Masa or Vorpal equipped, though, the Knight could do more. Okay, Invis 2, definitely still a good call. You're going to kill this Chaos, so the biggest thing is you just need to stay alive long enough to do so. Yeah, that was only what that was less crits. Yeah, keeping them both alive is fine. But because you only have a single person you can temper for the most part, having more temper buffs on one of them is generally slightly better. Okay, there's the Invis 2 casts. Good. So you know about the 6 stacks of evade, right? So you're at 4 out of 6, and Chaos has punched you and hasn't done that much damage. I'd be more concerned about damage output now than staying alive, especially considering you have some heal 3s and some cure 4s. So tempers, I think, is what's going to be good here because the biggest risk right now is getting nuked or slow 2'd or cure 4'd from Chaos. Like, Chaos punching you is not the biggest concern. The biggest concern is giving Chaos too many turns. So you need to start upping your damage output. Okay, so this will get you up to max evade. But note, if you had done this from the beginning with your fighter, you could have been spending more turns buffing your black belt instead of having your only buffing character casting Invis 2. If this was your plan, actually, you could have gone Invis 2, white shirt on your black belt not equipped, and Invis 2, and then had max evade on all 3 party members on turn 2. Generally speaking, against Chaos, he's going to have too much HP, and he also might have Cure 4. So you want to like get all your buffs up first, and then start punching. Fade's a good call. That's a good adjustment. I really like that. Because heal 3 is a good decision here too. Fade's a good decision because you know that your fighter's not punching for much. This black belt needs some tempers though. See, this fight's going fine because Chaos hasn't done anything yet. But like, if this Chaos had nuke and nuclear, you've given him so many turns. So many turns. You're also only getting 3 hits right now with your black belt once in a while, and he should be getting 6. So this Chaos is actually relatively high absorb, or evade, and locks would be the biggest damage buff you can give after 2 tempers. So having lock, which you definitely had access to, would be really important right now. I guess it was the same level as Fade, Temper, and Brack, so sure. But if you had another Black caster, for example, putting out some locks would make a difference. Whew, scary. Okay, so we just got nuked. What's the priority here? There's 2 trains of thoughts. Either you try and keep your Cure 4 caster alive, which is your red mage, or you try and keep your primary damage dealer alive, which is, at this point, your black belt. Chaos has already been punched for about 1,000. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll start again. So we just got nuked. We have 3 party members left. There's 2 plans of attack here. Obviously, we're casting Cure 4, but the question is, who are we Cure 4ing? It's either our Cure 4 caster or our primary damage dealer. We have a backup primary damage dealer here, but if we get nuked again, who do we need alive? Chaos has already taken about just over 1,000 damage, and he has a maximum of 3,000 HP. If this black belt gets a few more turns of punching, it's gonna die. So at this point, I'd be buffing, like healing my primary damage dealer because I have no tempers left. All I have left is healing for my red mage. So primary damage dealer, Cure 4. Punch, punch. Cure 4. Good. Awesome. Hey, we live. Okay, at this point, you Cure 4 your Cure 4, so that way he can potentially Cure 4 the black belt again. Your knight doesn't matter. Okay, awesome. Good decisions. And you win. Nice. So, congratulations. GG's on your run. 3 hours and like 47 minutes or something like that is what this YouTube video looks like. I don't know what your actual duck time was, but pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think you've been here for most of it, so I think hopefully you took away some stuff. Really impressive run, to be honest. I think your vanilla knowledge is really going to pay off. I think you just really got to adjust to the randomizer, and you're going to do really, really well. Try the next week with at least 2 mages. I think that's what I would recommend. If you think your strength is that the double melee comps, go watch Dengwu. Dengwu's a amazing double melee player. He really likes Fighter Thief or Black Belt Thief. I think those are both like really good comps. But add a second mage, and I think it's going to help you a lot in terms of the randomizer. Your routing's pretty good. Your map knowledge is pretty good. I think you can like based off what you're saying and like how you're playing. I'm pretty sure you can go to max text speed. That will help a lot in terms of your time. And then like you know a lot more about spells and stuff now. So I think those improvements are just going to make a world of difference. Um, Also, if any other Ducks are watching and you're going to be tuning in tonight, we have the Duckling Reveals show. I'm doing commentary with Greggly Puff, the Duckling Don himself, and that's happening at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And we're going to be showing off the same flag set that you're going to be running um, this week for the Duckling Weekly. Now, I know I've bemoaned weapon shops, but spoilers and alert, you're going to be checking weapon shops in this next one. And the reason is because we have huge blurst weapons on and we have elite gear in shops. So have you ever wanted to buy a Masa? Because I want to buy a Masa. And that's what this next flag set's going to let you do. Buy Masas, buy ribbons, buy all that stuff. So weapon shops, 10 out of 10. Spell magic, not as important, although still good. So yeah, thanks a ton for tuning in, though. I really appreciate it, and thanks for sharing your video, Weirdo Wizard. If any other ducklings, like Sir Link-a-Lot, for example, want to share a VOD that they want reviewed, please feel free to either DM me or just post in Duckling Pond, and I'll try and get to them when I have a chance. But I really enjoyed this, and thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all hopefully tonight. Have a good one.